we really, really know what you're talking about.
Test one, two. Oh, wait, pull up Zoom. Pull up YouTube for a moment. Yeah, but you see how it sounds on YouTube.
That's like the last thing.
Okay. Test one, two. Test one, two.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
I had the wrong agenda.
Do you have an extra pen? Yes, I do. Oh, do you want me to, I can go get it.
Filming. We're going to go ahead and start. Go ahead. I mean, we've got a quorum.
So then everything has to be,
Let's see.
Oh, yes.
We can wait a couple more minutes. I think that'll be okay.
Yeah, I think we should give it a minute. It's just because people are probably at City Hall. I'm gonna guess.
I did that one.
I know, I double
Could
checked.
we not get an RSVP from?
All right, everything seems to be okay.
Gus, why are you here? I'm glad you are. Nice to see you.
Because I got a text message. Oh, that's definitely on.
Oh. Oh, I'm so sorry. And you had planned on going home.
It doesn't seem like one that'll end.
Kind of a late.
Is Karen not coming? No, but it's, they made some changes in the office. That lady right there, my boss. It's kind of a little villainous, you know. So Kara, they moved her to development services, another office, to have historic there, and now she's not sitting in her office. And she has sat in the office that I'm at for like 18 years. Oh, okay. So, just like, we don't know what her background is. Exactly. But, you know, what are you gonna do? I wouldn't be, you know, she has so much more experience.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're just a little beyond 4. We're waiting to see who else on the board is going to show up. Traffic's pretty heavy with the weather, so we're just going to give it a couple of more minutes, if you don't mind. I'm sorry for any inconvenience.
Oh, and you know what? When you come home, look up this name. Gonzalez. He was just at Brooklyn. Have you heard that name? Oh, you gotta look it up just because you Google. And last week, there was a story that came out on Wednesday. And
So my dog was eating my fertilizer stakes.
This week, and we're still kind of like,
And eating fertilizer sticks on the roof chairs. And at night, when we were down in the courtyard, she always would go up and spend time with them.
I'm just making sure.
Well, that's not good.
But what's in them? It's just excited.
She loves them. They're like crack. And she had this horrible diarrhea, so I took her to the vet and she's getting into something. I said, I'm telling you, she's not. We have her on that special diet you put her on and everything. Recording in progress.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your patience. I'm sorry that we're a little late. We're just trying to accommodate a couple of board members with the traffic and the weather. We're going to call the meeting to order now. So good afternoon, welcome, and we're so pleased that you all are here. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the City of Coral Gables Historic Preservation Board. We are residents of Coral Gables and are charged with the preservation and protection of historic or architecturally worthy buildings, structures, sites, neighborhoods, and artifacts which impart a distinctive historical heritage to our city. The board is comprised of 9 members, 7 of whom are appointed by the commission, 1 by the city manager, and the 9th is selected by the board and confirmed by the commission. 5 members of the board constitute a quorum, and 5 affirmative votes are necessary for the adoption of any motion. Any person who acts as a lobbyist pursuant to the City of Coral Gables Ordinance Number 2006-11 must register with the city clerk prior to engaging in lobbying activities or presentations before city staff, boards, committees, and/or the city commission. A copy of the ordinance is available in the office of the city clerk. A failure to register and provide proof of registration shall prohibit your ability to present to the Historic Preservation Board on applications under consideration this afternoon. Lobbyist is defined as an individual, corporation, partnership, or other legal entity employed or retained, whether paid or not, by a principal who seeks to encourage the approval, disapproval, adoption, repeal, passage, defeat, or modifications of any ordinance, resolution, action, or decision of any city commissioner, any action, decision, recommendation of the city manager, any city board or committee, including, but not limited to, quasi-judicial, advisory board, trust, authority, or council, or any action, decision, or recommendation of city personnel during the time period of the entire decision-making process on the action, decision, or recommendation, which foreseeably will be heard or reviewed by the city commission or a city board or committee, including but not limited to quasi-judicial, advisory board, trust, authority, or council. Presentations made to this board are subject to the city's False Claim Ordinance, Chapter 39 of the City of Coral Gables City Code. I now officially call the City of Coral Gables Historic Preservation Board of March 12th to order. The time is 4:13 p.m. Present today are Ms. Alvarez, Ms. Spain, Mr. Garcia Pons, myself, and Mr. Silva. Ms. Everett and Ms. Dene are excused, and Ms. Silva may join us. Ms. Shield may join us, or
Yes, Ms.
anyway.
Rolando and Ms. Shield should be arriving soon, and Ms. Everett and Ms. Dune are excused.
Thank you. All of you are distinguished persons, and so I'm going to recognize every one of you as welcome to our meeting today. Our next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes for the meeting held in February. Are there any changes or corrections, board?
None?
Do I have a motion?
Motion to accept the minutes?
Motion to accept the minutes by Mr. Garcia Pons.
Second.
Second by Mr. Silva. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are accepted. Okay. Please be advised that this board is a quasi-judicial board, and the items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature, which requires board members to disclose all ex parte communications. An ex parte communication is defined as any contact, communication, conversation, correspondence, memorandum, or other written or verbal communication that takes place outside a public hearing between a member of the public and a member of a quasi-judicial board regarding matters to be heard by the quasi-judicial board. If anyone has made any contact with a board member, when the issue comes before the board, the member must state on the record the existence of the ex parte communication, the party who originated the communication, and whether the communication will affect the board member's ability to impartially consider the evidence to be presented regarding the matter. Deferrals?
I have no deferrals at this time. The only change to the agenda that I'd like to request is hearing case file LHD 2025-011 and COA SP 2025-027 for 2509 Indian Mound Trail toward the end of the meeting.
Okay, I'd like to move that item, since it's going to be complex and will probably require a pretty lengthy discussion, to the end, if you don't mind. Is there anyone here from that to discuss that item? Please raise your hand. Okay. If you'd like, you can take a break and come back, and we'll do that. So since it is complex, we're asking that those complex items be put toward the end so that we can deal with everything a little more expeditiously, and then allow the parties on these particular types of items more time, to explain and go through what it is. So if that's acceptable to everyone else, that will be the change. Okay. Board members, does anybody have any ex parte communications as we get going? Please disclose those. Okay. Swearing in. If any persons in the audience will be testifying today or making presentation, please rise to be sworn in. Thank you very much. Okay, Ms. Shield has joined us.
Yes.
So thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to the first item, relocated, is special certificates of appropriateness. And we're going to start with case file COA SP 2025-023, an application for the issuance of a special certificate of appropriateness for the property located at 2615 Alhambra Circle, a contributing resource within the Alhambra Circle Historic District, legally described as lots 21, 22, Block 10, Coral Gables, Section D, plat, Plat Book 25, page 74, Miami-Dade. Applicant requests design approval for additions and alterations to the site work. Presentation?
Can you put the PowerPoint up, please? I'll start. Okay, there we go. It's the location map of the property in question. It's on Alhambra Circle, just north of Sevilla Avenue. It is at a contributing structure within the Alhambra Circle Historic District, which was designated in 2008. It is a later era home built in 1951 that fit within the period of significance for the district, which is why it's contributing, and it's had very few alterations. This is a photo from 1977, which is the earliest photo that we have of the property. The application requests approval for an approximately 390 square foot addition to the northeast corner of the home. It's attached to an already altered area of the house, and so it will have minimal impact on the existing historic structure. New impact windows and doors are also proposed, full interior remodeling, and some very limited site work. No variances were requested. This was approved by the Board of Architects with conditions that maintain the chimney on the exterior as per historic and to remove all the accordion shutters, which I believe have all been accommodated. We have very minor conditions that are on the last 2 pages of your report, and I'll turn it over to the architect.
Wonderful. Okay, can we have a presentation from the property owner or the representative?
Good afternoon, board. Michael.
Good afternoon.
James Smith, JAS Group Architects, Planners, here in Miami. This kind of nondescript home on...
Can you just pull it down a little closer, Mr. Smith?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. The minor addition in the back of the home is the northeast corner, so anything that we're doing is on the rear. See what we've got. One of the things I think that we strive to do is the photo that you see, I'm not really sure what the specific year was, but there are, I'm sorry? 1977. Okay, 77. And the home was constructed in 51 or 52. So It's doubtful that the awning windows were original. So one of the things you'll see in our proposal is that we're going back to what we believe would have been more appropriate or more of the genre at the time, which is casement windows with horizontal muntins only, applied muntins horizontally. So these are context photos for the neighborhood. These are this is the house to the north on the same side, directly across the street. And this is to the southwest and northwest. And this is the home. Now, one of the things that came up at the Board of Architects meeting is the applied shutters that are there are kind of disproportionately out of scale. They're a lot narrower than what was on the house originally. We had made a proposal at one time just to remove those, but they've been retained. So again, another view of the home from the front. Nice 50s, mid-century classic look. And nothing on the outside is going to change except a fresh up. So. And this is the rear of the home. There was a comment from staff that we didn't see until yesterday about the awning canopy. We're not proposing that the awning be removed in the back. All we're going to do is put a different fabric cover on it. That's it. Now the addition is going on the right side of the view here, which will convert that space to a master bedroom suite, and we're going to replan just about everything you see on the steps in the exterior. This is again the awning. This is the area of work. Okay, so this is the addition area in the back, facing east and north. This is the existing plan now with the this addition that was done in the 60s is the subject of the major renovation to the space, and the kitchen at the interior. Again, this is the proposed floor plans. There are no pool terrace changes in this area. That's all going to be just resurfaced. The addition to the outside is in these two areas here, with a small terrace right at this location. These are existing and proposed elevations. Again, we've shown that the shutters are going to be removed. The windows are going to be replaced with the casements, and I think it's probably a more traditional look than was originally proposed. In the rear, actually, I think that, well, I don't know if the house was, I don't know what year the house was designated, Kara. 08. So the addition on the north and east corner that was done at the time certainly was not done with any kind of overview from historic. And that's about what we have. It's pretty straightforward, Michael.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Board, questions? I've got one. Mr. Smith, on the front elevation, you're replacing a window. It looks like it's probably a bathroom window.
They're all size for size.
Yeah, it's a B size. Is that going to have muttons in it, or is it just going to be? Because I'm not seeing anything in the drawing on that. It looks like it's just a punch window.
Let me see what.
So one of our conditions in staff report was that the window muntin pattern should more closely align with the original windows that were awning, and we've done that. They can be casement type windows, but they need to have like kind of a horizontal look to them. We've done that elsewhere on the street on Alhambra for this type and style of house. So we will work with them to adjust the muntin pattern around the property.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you very much. That answers my question. Board? Ms. Alvarez? Ms. Spain? Mr. Garcia-Pons?
I think that the only question is the staff had 11 conditions. You're fine with the 11 conditions? Just want to hear it.
We will.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Silva?
No questions.
Let the record show that Ms. Rolando has arrived. Mr. Rolando, do you have any questions about the presentation you just missed?
I think it would be best if I did not cast a vote on this.
I think that would be fine. We still have a quorum. Ms. Shield, any questions?
No, no questions.
All right. All right. Board, if there's nothing else, any members of the community would like to speak? Is there anyone on Zoom? Or anyone in favor of this in the audience? Okay, if not, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back here to the board. Mr. Smith, thank you very much. It's
My
a nice,
pleasure.
clear
My
presentation.
pleasure. Thank you.
Board, what's your pleasure?
Happy to make a motion.
Motion?
Motion to approve the application for the issuance of a special certificate of appropriateness for the property at 2615 Alhambra Circle, a contributing resource within the Alhambra Circle Historic District, and design approval for the additions and alterations in site work with the 11 conditions as provided in the staff report.
Very good. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, we have a second from Ms. Spain. Would you please call the roll?
Ms. Alvarez?
Yes.
Ms. Shield?
Yes.
Excuse me.
I'm abstaining.
I know. Ms. Spain? Yes. Mr. Garcia-Pons? Yes. 2, 3, and Mr. Silva?
Yes.
5, 0.
And I vote yes, too.
Excuse me?
And I vote yes as well.
I apologize, Chairperson Maxwell.
It's okay.
Mr. Maxwell?
I vote yes. Thank you. Well, thank you. Mr. Smith, thank you. Motion passed. You're good to go with, get your permit and have at it. Thank you very much. Okay, the next item on the agenda is case file COA SP 2026-14, an application for the issuance of a special certificate of appropriateness for the property at 2017 Alhambra Circle, a non-contributing resource within the Alhambra Circle Historic District, legally described as Lot 4 less the southwest corner of minus 26.4 and Lot 5, Block 14, Coral Gables, Section E, Plat Book 8, page 13, Miami-Dade Records. Application requests design approval for additions and alterations in site work.
Thank you. So just up the street from the last application is 20017 Alhambra Circle. It's right on the curve, just south of the Alhambra Water Tower. It is a non-contributing structure within the district. It was constructed in the 1950s, but in 2005, 2006, it was completely remodeled. Second floor added. It's like a new construction. So it is considered non-contributing. It's the current photo of the property. They are requesting design approval for additions and alterations to the residence, primarily to the rear of the property. There is a one-story, about 160 square foot addition to the northwest front corner of the home. And then, as noted in the staff report, it is labeled as a carport on the proposed plans, but it will, zoning, it doesn't meet the dimensions for a carport. So it will be relabeled as a porch. It's just to provide an entry to the, landing space to the front of the house. The addition to the rear is a two-story auxiliary structure labeled as a pool house. It's connected to the house with a one-story covered terrace. Site work includes the existing swimming pool, new pool deck, and new CMU wall and fence at the northwest corner of the home. The owner is here. I don't know if is the architect here? No, I'm just here. Okay. All you.
You gotta tell me how to use this thing.
Forward there, arrows forward,
That's it?
backwards, yep.
Okay.
Simple.
So, hello.
Hi, please state
So
your name.
My wife and I have lived in the house for about 30 years.
Please state your name for the record.
My name is Ronald Potter.
Thank you.
All right. So my wife and I bought the house back in 1996 when we were young. Now we're older, and we built this one in 06, 05, 06, as she said. So my neighbor just put up a 10,000 square foot house next door to mine, where I had a nice little, 2,000 square foot house before. So my wife and I looked at each other and said, well, we might as well do something. And so we figured we'd entertain ourselves and came up with some ideas. We've always wanted to have a separate pool house, like a gym and just a place to kind of, a man cave, whatever you want to call it. So we designed it. I wanted to put a little porch on the front because the original design, as we lived in it, it just felt too big over there, and I wanted something architecturally to break up that long wall. So we created that little port. Then as you move to the back of the house, these are your views. That's the pool house that's connected now to the main house, and everything matches. The windows are the exact same size. The French doors are the same. So you have a 2-story area there. We're redoing the entire pool to get away from the old, swervy pool to a more contemporary squarish style pool. Let's see here. You can see it here. So architecturally, that's what it would look like from the front. There's your front view. And this is the rear view now, the new rear view. And then these are your side views from when you're in the backyard. That's, if you're in the pool, that's what you would see when you're looking at the pool house as you're bathing in the pool. And there's a little barbecue area in there, et cetera. So that's what we're looking to do, and just match up what we currently have. Roof tiles will be the same, the same or just rounded barrel tile roofs, I guess you guys call them. And everything else just matches up. That's it. There you go.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Board, any questions of the applicant at this time? Ms. Shield? Ms. Rolando? Mr. Silva? Mr. Garcia Pons?
It's either, maybe it's a question for staff with regards to the proposed carport, which is a porch now. It looks like a carport, and you can park a car in it. The front arch is an arch for a car to fit. Is there any use problem with somebody parking in their porch? Like if they build this thing and they call it a porch and they park on their porch, it's legal?
Yes. I mean, yes, it's going to be labeled as a porch on the drawings because it doesn't meet the current required dimension, but they can use it as they wish.
So there's no use issue. I can build a porch in my house and drive my car in it.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to hear it. I
We-
don't want
we
to
have-
get in trouble
We
in
have
case he
lots of
parks the
people
car.
who
You're
also
very
build
small car.
carports who now
Yeah,
use
a
them as
golf cart.
dining terraces. So it's the use of it as long as it meets the, meets the.
It's not a carport, it's a car porch.
Okay, I just don't, looking towards the future of potential use of that space.
Anything larger than a 911 is not going to fit there.
Okay, so it's zoning legal and building legal and everything legal. Okay, that's my only question.
I had the same question. It seems like it's neither, oh, sorry. It's, it seems like not a porch, not a carport, and that it goes nowhere. There's no entrance there. So
I like what you're doing, but to me, that's the one thing that's somewhat bizarre.
Okay. I guess my wife and I could put a couple lawn chairs and look at the water tower from there if we wanted to.
Well, you know, there's,
No, it's just, if you look at the design, I mean, I don't know how I even didn't catch this back in '06, but that wall over there to the left looks horrendous. It just looks pitiful. And it has to be broken up with something that has some architectural concept. And this was the best thing after, I don't know, thinking through it a million times that we could come up with to make it look nice with the house, to match everything. And whether we even ever use it, I don't know if I'll even ever use it. But I know it'll make the house look a lot better when I drive up to it. Because what's there now is terrible. I even thought about putting a fountain there and other things, just something has to go there. And that was, after a lot of work, that's what we came up with.
So you could have lawn chairs with wheels.
Lawn chairs with wheels. There you go.
you're not even close to the kitchen and the adult beverage refrigerator.
I had to take my rolling cooler out there with,
What's on the other side of that? Because I'm not seeing that on the floor
that's
plan.
my office on the other side of that wall there, right there, it's my office. I thought about busting that wall out. I can't do it. There's no way to do it because I'll be parking inside my house. You're talking about 2 feet much, it's, because if you see the whole house is elevated, it's 2 feet higher. So I said, I wouldn't have cared to get rid of my office, but it was gonna be a structural nightmare to try to convert that into a third garage or something of that nature. Don't think that didn't go through my mind, it did.
Or put a door in there or something?
I mean, I thought about putting a door, but the problem is that the AC literally, right, the only place I can get in through, the AC is there, and so now everything would have to be, completely redone.
Okay.
Don't think that a lot of thought didn't go into this. When you live in a place for 30 years, you see every little nook and cranny, and some things drive you crazy. And this is one of the things.
Ms. Bain, any comments? Ms. Alvarez?
Oh, only, unless I missed it on the report. Were there any BOA comments that needed to be addressed?
The
Board of Architects?
No, Board of Architects loved it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did they notice the little cardboard in the front?
they did. They actually loved it. They were absolutely 100% on board. As a matter of fact, one of them said you can put a little, what do you call those things that everybody drives around and down the Keys? A little golf cart in there if you wanted to. As you're moving around Coral Gables in your little deluxe golf cart, you could stop in there. Not that I'm ever going to have a golf cart in the front of my house at 2017 Alhambra.
I'd like to give it one more shot.
Sure.
And the question is we try not to promote garages and carports facing the front of the house. And
Right.
here we are, we're adding not a carport to the front of the house.
Right.
If it's a porch, there are usually architectural ways to define a porch.
Okay.
And having one big opening for a car is not that way.
Okay.
Would you consider, as you have on the sides, having a nice tri-arched area in the front that goes down, and that way?
I thought about that as well.
Yeah.
And adding it to the main house. But then, in other words, if I was going to do what you're saying is to put 3 arches in the front, then I got to start busting through where the AC is.
No, just where the arch is, replace the arch with 3 little arches like you have on the side.
But then, how am I getting into my lovely little porch? I'm not going to jump through an arch,
You walk in through the arch.
I'd really much rather not have to do that, quite honestly. I mean, if I did the 3 little arches, it would be to enclose the area, and then I'd have to take square footage away from because I'm like at my max on the back area, and so that would mean I'd have to redesign that whole back area, from scratch.
You don't. It's just a matter of changing the way you enter your porch from a car driveway into a human size.
I would hate to do that. Then I've got a million arches in the front of my house too. I think the big arch actually breaks it up. I mean, you're gonna have arches, arches, arches. That one actually matches my front arch to the front of the house. And that's kind of why we designed it that way, is to match it up to my existing entrance, the main entrance of the house.
If you want to repeat the size and scale of your front door arch over there, that would work too.
Oh, that would look terrible. The wall's too big. I mean, look at the size of the cupola that's there, and then look at that size. It's double the size. It looked terrible.
It's something an architect can definitely handle very deftly. You don't have to have a single arch, you can have side openings. There are really thousands of ways to treat that front.
I
that
think
is
I would
different
probably
from
just-
having it as a car.
I think I would just nix the whole thing and just live with the ugly wall before I, go to do that, to be honest with you.
Okay, that was,
I mean, I
I
would
just
nix,
figured
I
I'd
would
give it one
nix
more
the,
shot, so thank
I
you.
would nix the whole front
Thank
at
you so
least and
much.
just be done with it, and not do it.
Ms. Rolando?
I don't have a problem with the arch. I think my issue is it doesn't read as a porch.
No.
And there's lots of porches, especially in the Mediterranean revival homes in Coral Gables, where they're screened-in front porches, and people do use them. So I would be fine with if there were a step up, so it read as a porch rather than a truncated carport.
Okay.
So I will remind you all that this is non-contributing in a district, and as staff, our primary focus is to make sure there's no real negative impact on the historic district. And in my opinion, this does not negatively affect the district, so.
Thank you. Ms. Shield, any questions? No. Okay. Mr. Silva? Ms. Alvarez?
No.
Mrs. Spain?
No.
Mr. Garcia-Pons? Nope. Okay, good. Well, thank you, sir. We're going to close this part of the meeting, and we're going to see if there's anyone online for the public hearing. Anyone online or in the audience that would wish to speak for or against this particular item? All right. So we're going to close that. We're going to come back to the board and close that part of the meeting. Okay, board, any discussion?
I think we've discussed that to death. I'll make them.
I do have one question, I'm sorry.
Green, it's on now? All right. So, I'd like to make a motion. Oh, I'm sorry.
Someone has a question.
There was a comment about working with zoning. Could you just tell me what that was about?
What did she say?
It said staff will continue to work with zoning on lowering new wall and gates,
Right.
updating.
There were some zoning comments that were provided that pertain to the perimeter of the sidewall, that they needed it to be lowered, and they're not overall affecting the design of the additions. They were just minor comments on the plans that we'll work with them to address them as they move through permitting.
Any other discussion, board? Excuse me, any other discussion, board? If not, Ms. Spain?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the design proposal for additions to the residence and site work on the property located at 2017 Alhambra Circle, a non-contributing resource within the Alhambra Circle landmark, incorporating those conditions that are in the staff report. There are 5 of them. And approve with those conditions an issuance of a special certificate of appropriateness.
All right, we have a motion from Ms. Spain. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Mr. Silva. Please call the roll.
Ms. Alvarez? Ms. Shield?
Yes.
Mr. Garcia-Pons?
No.
Ms. Rolando?
Reluctantly, no.
Okay. Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Ms. Spain?
Yes.
And Mr. Maxwell?
Yes.
Okay.
And the motion carries. Okay, we're going to go to the next item, which is case file COA SP 2026-008, application for the issuance of a special certificate of appropriateness for the building currently located on the University of Miami campus, referred to as Apartment Building 35, LaGorce House, located at 1233 Dickinson Drive, a local historic landmark. Lengthy legal description is on file, according to the plat thereof in Plat Book 46, page 81, Miami-Dade County Records. Applicant requests design approval for additions, alterations, and site work. Presentation, please.
Thank you. All right. This is the location of the Lagores house, just south of the lake. This is the property that was designated, I believe, oh, I'm sorry, it's not in here. So this was a property that is requesting approval for the replacement of the existing original steel frame windows, interior renovations, and the addition of an elevator tower with connecting walkways at the second and third floors. A similar scope of work had previously been approved for Building 34, the Pentland House, under COA SP 2021-002 in April 2021. As part of the approval, staff is requesting that the Muttons are high profile and that the windows at the Lagorce building have clear glass, no tint, and no mirror finish. I will let the applicant come up and.
All right, thank you, applicant.
Let's see. So, I don't know if the pointer might not work, but up and down.
Okay, for all those speaking, please state your name clearly. And if you would, please, these microphones are not that sensitive, so if you would lean in. Thank you.
Sure. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Daphne Guri. I'm principal with Guri Matute, the architectural firm preparing these plans.
Yes, I'm Fabio Segre, Senior Project Manager at Guri Matute.
And as the scope of the work has been already described, the reason why this project exists is to replace all of the building systems, to replace exterior windows and doors, and most importantly, provide ADA accessibility, while at the same time preserving the integrity of the design of the building to as much as we possibly can. It's a project that's very near and dear to me, as I studied at the School of Architecture and in 1985, graduated in 88, so it's kind of interesting to be full circle here presenting this project. And as I was already described, some of the most important architectural features of the building that make it unique are the exterior stairways, the breezeways, cross ventilation, the windows especially, the railings, and in general, there's an openness and I want to add one thing, the very subtleness of the architectural design by Marion Manley. Historically, there were many buildings, some of them have already been demolished. We have here adjacent to the site, the George Paris Architectural Center designed by Leon Krier, the Murphy Design Studio designed by Architectonica, and some other notable, nice, beautiful buildings like the Miller Build Lab and the Theater Arts Building, which was a renovation. And then, of course, the Pentland Building, which already received some similar improvements. We took a lot of care in figuring out what the implication was of bringing in a new vertical element like the elevator into this building, because it has very strong horizontal lines. So in doing that, we really literally walked around the building and tried to understand what are the opportunities and constraints and how people walk through the site. And I just want to point out a couple of key things. For example, in slide B, photograph B, that's the corner where you have the FPL transformer vault. We looked at that corner. We also looked at, of course, spot number, slide A, photograph A. That's the site where we were looking at more intensely and where we ultimately chose to place the elevator. But we walked around the whole building to see where we could connect, provide that vertical accessibility and not destroy the beauty of the existing building. We also looked at the site utilities and how students use the site now. So the green line is a heavily trafficked area for students traveling between the buildings, mostly the architecture students. But you also have the red line that's dashed shows where you have a service access that takes you to Centennial Village. And so one thing that was also important that we received feedback from the Board of Architects was how we could, in the selection of our site, provide some kind of connectivity to the Murphy Design Studio and the Paris Architectural Center, as there is none at this time. This is just a photograph of all the utilities. as we were looking for the site, we were trying to understand what is the feasibility of what's buried under the road, what would be the impact of trying to put the building elevator tower in different parts of the building. And the circle that has the red dash is the area that we deem to be the one that had the least impact with the buried utilities. It does have some, but they're electrical and they can be rerouted. So this is where we have selected to put the new elevator tower. Of course, we were very careful how we were going to articulate that with the existing open stair, which is a primary architectural feature of these buildings. So the picture on the left shows you the existing conditions and shows you what would be impacted. It's basically some parking spaces, but what we're going to be doing is really giving students an opportunity, like by creating a small plaza in the corner that at least has a space that draws your attention. This is kind of bringing you into the building, and at the same time kind of solves the problem of providing connectivity between the buildings, between the George Paris Architectural Center, using the sidewalks and connecting it into the building at the ground floor level between the existing stair and the elevator. We looked at how we were going to position the elevator in our previous design that we had presented to the Board of Architects. That we had the elevator rotated 90 degrees and was facing forward, which meant that we actually had to do more architectural gestures to be able to provide protection to the elevator. So we received their comments and we flipped it 90 degrees and it opens now to the existing stair. And by doing so, it really compressed the footprint that we were going to be taking up and created this very intimate space that allows you to come into the elevator but does not touch the existing stair. And that's something that we really wanted to achieve. And then the drawing up at the top is just basically the demo plan. As you can see, what's being removed is some interior walls to be able to create studio spaces, but basically removing all of the restrooms and redesigning the restrooms so that they can be ADA accessibility. And then, of course, all of the building systems and the windows. The same applies in the upper 2 floors. The second and the third floor are exactly the same, with open studios. And then a closer enlarged plan view of what happens at the ground. So you can see here a little bit more close up how you approach the studio space. This is really the corner where everybody comes into the building. And so then we wanted to, again, draw people to come into the building, but at the same time, not let the new proposed architecture compete with the existing building. So it creates the most efficient, smallest footprint possible to create an area of circulation that you can come into the studio space and at the same time go to the stair. And we also wanted to preserve the existing railings at the stair. So what we did was, do I have a pointer here? Is it this one? Oh, I don't think I can use the pointer. But above the label of the existing stair, right there where it says existing stair number 4, we're showing you a 4-inch step, and then there's a railing there that we are cutting. Oh, I can.
Maybe.
No?
We have to be straight on.
I don't think it's gonna work. I'm gonna keep it. Okay, thanks. You'll be able to see it now in some of our renderings. So architecturally speaking, this was one of our biggest design challenges, is how do you come up with a design that is slightly understated so that you're not competing and making a big gesture on a building that is so subtle. So the architectural design gives a nod to the existing design by Marion Manley, but at the same time has to define itself as being new and different. So how we did that was express the horizontality of the thin slabs and the thin roof line, which is similar to like what you see in the eyebrows and in the open balconies, mimicking the use of the transparent railings. And then, of course, the colors and materiality were also important. So we wanted to go with a full white scheme to be able to blend in nicely with the building. But then what we did was we accented by the use of the yellow on the glass to reference how the yellow was used in the existing glass, the steel windows. And this is what it would look like at night. You can see the plaza there in the corner, and then the yellow light is just like a very, very thin, translucent light that brings attention to the corner, but doesn't compete. And then the openness, as you can see, is completely open, and you can see where the existing building was, where the existing stairs, and then the new intervention. Do you want to talk about the materials?
Well, actually, just adding to what Daphne said, the transparency is the main concept here. We want to make sure that you see the existing building as you see the end of the existing stairs is completely translucent.
Please speak closer.
Yeah. Then the transparency is achieved by just having a corridor in between the two buildings. Yeah, the materiality, again, with bringing the yellow glass, the doors are going to be blue as they're originally blue. The new windows are going to be whole windows, all metal windows with the transparent glass. And yes, as you mentioned, Daphne, we're planning to have white stucco, so it created a dialogue between the existing building and the new.
And there you can see the railing that is existing on the stair that we basically are just cutting in the backside. The from one in the foreground stays in place. And this is a view at night. The view from the side. And just a close-up on the windows. And that's it. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Okay, board, questions? Ms. Alvarez, Ms. Spain?
Have you discussed with the university the not putting reflective glass in the
Yes.
windows? And okay.
Yes.
We are very aware of that.
Yes, and personally, as an architect, I don't think that that's a good move either, so.
The very last thing I did, the
Yes.
last day that I worked for the city, I failed the inspection of the windows on the architecture school. And then I left the inspection and I went to the city manager's office and told him, and then I retired.
Actually, we are working very close with our mechanical engineer,
Okay.
making sure that the energy calculations is based on the overall building and not only on the windows. That way we can have more transparent glass. Yeah. Thank you.
Mr. Garcia Pons, question?
A couple. The windows are, what, I didn't see a slide about the window specifically. Do you have information
the
on the
new windows?
replacement windows of the whole building?
Yeah, the new windows are going to be Hope windows, are going to be out of metal with glass, with laminated glass, similar to what was implemented at Penland and the building 48 and 47, which is the brand is Hope.
Right. So similar to the ones that we've already used on the other building.
At Penland, yeah.
And the same color scheme as the School of Architecture.
The frame is going to be the same frame, the
Penlands
same
are
profile.
blue. Penlands are blue. Lagores are yellow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, they will match, but no reflected glass.
Without reflected glass. Okay, then the second question, when I saw the application, I was thinking about places to maybe put the elevator because it seems like maybe it was too prominent in my mind. And ideally, I was thinking maybe tucking it in the back along the stair corner and the front along the stair corner. I can see why the roadway, and I didn't see the utility line until you showed me that's going on the backside. So I understand why it's placed there. My question is, and I know that you've thought about it, the two touches of color, the yellow glass and then sort of are they blue score lines? What are the
No.
score lines? They're not colored?
It's really hard when you're using Photoshop to make the score line.
Shades.
So it's just we just drew it on there, but it's not going to be black.
It's just
No.
a score line. Yeah.
It's just a score line.
My question is, can you go back to the straight-on one, which is really beautiful? Okay, well, you'll find it.
Sorry, I gotta learn how to use this. This one?
No, the one that's
This one?
the other side of this one.
The perspective view.
This one?
That was good. No, do go back, sorry.
This one?
More. That one. So
Okay.
these guys, the transparency is wonderful. I think the orientation of the elevator is much better. I think the compactness of the approach is really efficient. Have you considered, instead of number 3 being white stucco, if it were just something else? Clad, dark, something, because then it would not look like it's an extension of the existing building.
Yes, we did. We looked at concrete. I personally thought it was it was mismatched because I like looking at the whole building. We did look at stowe as a possible alternate material to stucco, just so that it's a little bit different, but I wouldn't want to make it so different that it becomes too important, or there's something so nice about the subtleness of the stucco and the whole design that I feel like I need to give reverence to the building, if that makes sense. You know?
Again, I understand the thought process and the result, metal tile panels.
We looked at that too. Yeah.
There's some really modern ways to do something which matches the aesthetic of the modern architecture that isn't repeating the white stucco, because it could be interpreted as it was always there, because it's the same.
Yeah.
I would entertain the idea of doing the stowe.
Yeah, the story is a good
That's what we had, when we presented to the Board of Architects, we told them either the stucco or the stowe, and they were okay with it.
Yeah, because the stone will look like a very smooth finish. It's going to be, sanded at the end. It's going to look like a precast piece, but still synthetic
Exactly.
stucco.
Do you like that?
I think it might be better.
Yes.
I don't know if everyone here knows what it looks like, so if you have a slide, which I don't think you do, because. you're
No,
not
we
prepared
don't
for
have a
that.
It's just
slide.
going to be the same, but smoother. Yeah.
Very smooth. It can have almost like a plaster feeling to it.
Yeah.
And we would definitely agree to that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Ms. Alvarez?
Oh, thank you for the thorough presentation. I think it's a great strategy. I have a question that's, I guess not, perhaps not completely relevant, but since I spend a lot of time on the building, I noticed the Hope's windows have some deterioration, the ones that were installed not long ago. So I don't know if that's been addressed, because I know that's a very pricey item. And
We can review that item with the stall manufacturer, fabricator, what happened with the previous windows. Maybe you reference to 48, 49, because the Penland just was renovated a year ago.
Are you
the
referring to
administration
Penland?
building
Yeah.
in particular, that I know has some
I have not seen
rusting.
it.
Yeah.
We'll definitely take a look at it and discuss that with the manufacturer.
Yeah.
Mr. Silva?
Thank you, Daphne, for your presentation. I think it's a really elegant solution. In terms of what Cesar was talking about, that elevator tower finish, I'm personally okay with a stucco. I think it does read differently because these buildings are capped always by that stair tower, right, which has that grooved sort of finish.
Kind of like a brick
So
finish.
to me, it reads differently than all the rest of them, because all the rest of them have that grooved thick wall. But I wouldn't be opposed either to having kind of a different texture. I appreciate your effort on the railings. So a quick question on those. So the main elements of the railing, you got 2 horizontals and sort of some verticals that are mimicking the pattern of the original, right?
Yes.
And then you have the cables to really differentiate it. What do you anticipate? Have you thought about the detailing of those railings yet? Are they going to be round pipe, just like those, sort of welded with the things screwed through? And are they going to be white or are they going to be metallic? What do you?
We have it as gray right now. Again, this is a deferred maintenance project. We're going to have to bring the whole building to ADA compliance. The existing railings, we're going to have to be, we're going to integrate cables to the existing railings. That way you have the 4-inch sphere.
I would like to add that I would prefer to keep them with the round, But at the same time, if they have done already a certain railing in other parts of the buildings, I think just out of uniformity, we need to look at all of the
Yeah.
options.
Just take a look, especially if you're
Yes.
gonna retrofit the
Exactly.
other ones, then
Yes.
think about
The Penland,
differentiation.
whatever was
Yes.
done on Penland, yeah.
Yeah, but
Which they connect, Lagos and Penland connect at one point, yeah.
But great, I love the project.
Thank you, thank you.
Ms. Rolando, any questions?
I don't have a problem with the stucco, and I really like what you've done.
Thank you.
I think it's really tasteful.
Thank you.
and,
Thanks.
And very sympathetic to the original building. So if you do go with the stone, I think you have to be really careful. It can't be it can't give the impression of being monumental or important.
Agreed.
And that's why I like what you've done with the stucco. But
Thank you for the comments.
Ms. Shield, any questions?
No questions. I like the keeping with the color scheme and the, I like the thin ceiling and dividers that mimic the eyebrow, and it's a minimalistic. You made it look very easy, but yeah, I like it.
Thank you.
I'd say it's a good solution.
Thanks.
I think we all like it, and yeah, I think that the stucco is good too, and you know, we've got there's the brick pattern which goes on there. So I mean, if it's differentiated, it probably should pick up something more like that, and which it could do in the stucco as well, just to look a little slightly different. But I don't have a problem with the way it is. I mean, you've offset it nicely, and it's
Thank
a
you.
very good solution.
Thank you.
Yeah. By the way, the original building is really good. So thank you for such good work.
Thank you.
Any other questions, board? Okay, then we're going to call this part of the meeting to conclusion, and we're going to open it to the public. Is there anybody online or here in the audience that would like to speak for or against this particular issue? We have none, so we're going to close that, and thank you very much. We're going to go back to the board now. Board, questions, discussion? Motion? Ms. Rolando?
let me pull up the report, sorry. Okay. Let me just ask, did you have any objections to the conditions noted by staff in the staff report? No. Okay. Then I would move to approve the design proposal for the additions to the residence and site work on the property located at 1233 Dickinson Drive, a local historic landmark, and to approve with the conditions in the staff report an issuance of a special certificate of appropriateness for the reasons set forth in the staff report and as noted in the comments by the members of the board.
Thank you, Ms. Rolando. So we have a motion by Ms. Rolando. Do I have a second from the board?
I'll second it.
Ms. Spain? Thank you. All right.
Although
would you-
it shouldn't say residence, there's a typo there.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to bring it up, but since it's in the motion.
Should we say classroom facility or educational facility?
Building,
Building.
to the building.
Building.
In Sidewalk.
Building? Okay,
That's my amendment, my friendly amendment to the
I
motion.
accept the amendment.
Okay, so we have a motion, an amendment accepted by everybody. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Garcia Pons,
Yes.
Mr. Silva,
Yes.
Ms. Shield,
Yes.
Ms. Alvarez,
Yes.
Ms. Rolando,
Yes.
Ms. Spain. Ms. Spain
Yes.
and Mr. Maxwell.
Yes. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, and good job. All right. We're going to go back to the relocated motion, and we're going to come up now with case file LDH 2025-011 and COA SP 2025-27, consideration of local historic designation of the property at 2509 Indian Mountain Trail, legally described as Lot 3, Block 3, Coral Gables, Section D, recorded in Plat Book 25, page 74, Miami-Dade. The applicant is also requesting to unify two adjacent single-family properties into one parcel and the issuance of an accelerated special certificate of appropriateness and design approval to join single-family residences to create one single-family residence and design approval for additions and alterations to the residence and site work. Variance has been requested from Article 2, Section 2-101D6 for ground area coverage, and Article 2, Section 2-101D4 for the side and rear setback, Article 6. Do we have a presentation, please?
Yes, CGTV will be ready for the landmark designation and presentation, please. And if we could have Ms. Gwynn introduce herself too.
The property at 2509 Indian Mound Trail is before you for consideration for designation as a local historic landmark. The application was submitted by the owner. The Mediterranean transitional single-family home was designed by William Merriam in 1935. As per Article 8, Section 8-103 of the Coral Gables Zoning Code, criteria for designation of historic landmarks, a local historic landmark must have significant character, interest, or value as part of the historical, cultural, archaeological, aesthetic, or architectural heritage of the city, state, or nation. For designation, a property must meet one of the criteria outlined in the code. 2509 Indian Mound Trail is eligible as a local historic landmark based on 3 criteria. Historical cultural significance, criteria 4. It exemplifies the historical, cultural, political, economic, or social trends of the community. Architectural significance, criteria 1. It portrays the environment and era of history characterized by one or more distinctive architectural style. And criteria 2, it embodies those distinguishing characteristics of an architectural style or period or method of construction. 2509 Indian Mound Trail is located near St. Teresa's Catholic School at the junction of Indian Mound and Andalusia Avenue in Coral Gables, Section D. The property, approximately 6,230 square feet, is an irregularly shaped lot and has a single-family residence with an attached garage. The home retains its integrity of its original style and character. Coral Gables' developmental history is divided into 3 major historical periods. George Merrick founded it in the early 1920s based on his vision for a fully conceived Mediterranean-inspired city. It is now considered one of the first modern planned communities in the United States. The architecture constructed during this initial period combined elements commonly used in Spanish, Moorish, and Italian architecture, and has come to be known as the Mediterranean Revival style. During the 1920s, structures and amenities were built almost exclusively in this style. In the late 1920s, the dire downturn in the economy and the aftermath of the 1926 hurricane had a drastic impact on new construction. And despite valiant efforts, Merrick's grand plans for completing his Mediterranean-inspired city ended. During the Coral Gables' second developmental period, construction was sparse. During these 17 years, there were fewer than 1,000 new CBS single-family homes built in the city. It was a period where Merrick's vision for a cohesively designed community was still embraced, and Mediterranean-inspired architecture shifted to include new modern trends. 2509 Indian Mound Trail was built during the second historical phase when few homes were built, and Coral Gables began to embrace contemporary styles that followed national trends. In the 6 years, from 1930 to 1935, there were fewer than 90 single-family homes built in Coral Gables. Over half of them were built in 1935, as relief expanded under New Deal administration. In the 1930s, As construction tried to regain its footing, it shifted away from the elaborate and embellished Mediterranean revival style of the 1920s towards simpler and more modern designs that reflected the new aesthetic and priorities of society. Home design began, in a limited manner, to employ aspects of contemporary styles that favored more streamlined construction. In South Florida, Art Deco and Art Moderne were largely in fashion. In Coral Gables, whose early identity was so strongly tied to the Mediterranean theme, most architects sought to acknowledge Coral Gables' roots and Merrick's desire for a cohesively designed community. Rather than fully embracing the modernistic styles prevailing in other communities, Coral Gables moved to a style which blended elements of the Mediterranean revival with them to maintain an overall semblance of cohesion. 2509 Indian Mound Trail was designed in April 1935 and is amongst the earliest homes in Coral Gables designed in this blended style. 2 years later, in February 1937, the city of Coral Gables codified this blended approach by passing Zoning Ordinance 471. In Section 12A, it states, "All buildings shall be of Spanish, Venetian, Italian, or other Mediterranean or similar type architecture." It allowed for exceptions. However, throughout most of the city, new homes were to maintain the character of Merrick's Mediterranean-inspired vision. The direction many architects took was the hybrid that is now known as the Mediterranean transitional style. The Mediterranean transitional style was a staple during Coral Gables' second developmental period. However, after the war, as construction ramped up again and a new generation of homeowners entered the city, Zoning Ordinance 471 was hotly debated. In 1945, the city held public meetings to hear the citizens' wishes, and it was upheld. However, this was not the final word on the subject. A year later, the City Commission called for a special meeting to discuss the matter of architectural styles and invited all registered architects in the city to participate. As discussed in the designation report, there was a range of opinions and not a clear consensus. In the end, the Commission upheld the zoning ordinance, but left the final design approval to the Board of Architects, who leaned towards introducing new styles. Hence, the Mediterranean transitional architecture was only produced for a brief period before the new stylistic trends took over. Its primary characteristics are shown here and discussed further in the designation report. The Mediterranean transitional style is a pivotal link between the two historic building boom eras of the city and represents a final effort to harmonize with and honor Merrick's Mediterranean-inspired founding vision. The historical period of the style further adds to its limited nature, as these were Depression and wartime years, which saw sparse new construction. There were only a few hundred homes purposely designed in this style, and they are an important piece of the city's architectural history. 2509 Indian Mound Trail was one of the first designed in this style in Coral Gables. Indian Mound Trail, located in Section D, was laid out in 1922 as a small winding road connecting Coral Way and Anastasia Avenue. On its southern end, 2 blocks were set aside for St. Joseph's Academy, which are now the grounds of the St. Teresa Catholic School and the Church of the Little Flower. Along the winding northern section between Coral Way and Madrid Streets, lots for approximately a dozen homes were planned. However, during the 1920s, only 2 Mediterranean revival-style homes were built, one at each end, and the remainder of the street remained a tree-lined scenic cut-through trail, as seen in the photo here. Indian Mound Trail was primarily developed in the late 1930s, when building was scarce. 8 homes were built along this windy stretch between 1935 and 1939, and it remains a small, dense collection of pivotal and transitional homes built at this time. 2509 Indian Mound Trail, along with 2501 and 2505, were the first of this collection. They were built in 1935. Situated along the winding Indian Mound Trail, the home at 2509 was designed in the Mediterranean transitional style with strong influences from the modernistic Art Moderne. It retains a sense of recessed and projecting bays of the Mediterranean revival style, but in an overall simpler form with a focus on horizontality and geometric forms in the modernistic fashion. While the roof is clad in barrel tile of the Mediterranean Revival style, the roofs are low-pitched under a singular ridge, which is a distinct departure from the use of separate roofs of varying types and heights that was common in the Mediterranean Revival. The smoother stucco of the Art Moderne style also accents the home's geometric emphasis and modernistic sculptural qualities. The front facade is balanced at its end by the geometric elements of the protruding square of the garage bay and the cylindrical solarium. The sculptural elements of the blocky and stepped chimney and the curved entry dominate its street presence. The fenestration of the home is deeply recessed, giving the impression of being carved out, but rather than the modern clear view windows, the original windows were steel casements with raised muttons in keeping with the Mediterranean Revival style. In the modernistic fashion, embellishment is minimal. It includes coved eaves, geometric pattern masonry ground vents, exposed rafter tails, and it originally had round windows in the garage doors and floral motifed metal screen doors. 2509 Indian Mound Trail is a modest two-bedroom home whose simplicity was a response to the economic hardships of the Depression and the burgeoning modern aesthetic of subtle ornamentation and streamlined homes. As was typical, it is one story with a low-pitched roof, prominent exterior chimney, and efficient floor plan, and includes the then emerging trend of attached garages. It is built of masonry block over a crawl space, and in the modernistic fashion is clad in a very lightly textured stucco. The plan is essentially C-shaped under low-pitched hipped roofs and a semicircular solarium at the northwestern corner. The original roof was a two-piece barrel tile, which was a character-defining feature of Merrick's Mediterranean-style homes. The current S-tile barrel tile was installed in 1993. In the modernistic fashion, the windows are deeply recessed without sills, and the home retains a fair number of its original steel casement windows. Alterations to the home are minimal, and there are very few permits on file for this property. The only additions to the home occurred in 1941. They were small, with little historical impact on the original home. The first was an 8-foot 2-inch eastern extension of the rear wall to incorporate a bathroom at the location of the orange arrow. The second was a 3-foot 6-inch extension of the side screen porch shown at the red arrow. This addition is clear by the change of floor tile and its roof extension, as seen here. In the modernistic fashion, the street view of the home is distinctly horizontal with 4 major geometric and sculptural elements. The overall impression is a streamlined and clean with few decorative touches. The low-pitched roofs visually impart a horizontality to the home. In the eave is a cove molding feature. The softening of the wall to the roof connection is a detail often favored by Merriam to support the sculptural quality of the design. While the roof is clad in barrel tile of the Mediterranean Revival style along the front, it is low-pitched under a single ridge. In the 1920s Mediterranean Revival style homes, a protruding front porch bay was a character-defining feature. In this home, there is a similar protruding bay, but it contains an attached garage. In Merrick's 1920s, the garages were detached and at the rear of the property. By the mid-1930s, automobile ownership was more common than the early 1920s, and citing it as a protruding bay gave automobile ownership a higher pride of place. Additionally, moving the garage to be an integral part of the home aligned with the trend of designing efficient small homes. The garage bay reads as a simple square feature. As a protruding bay, it visually balances the large cylindrical solarium featured at the other end of the facade. As seen here, the original carriage doors featured simple circular windows, further emphasizing its geometric nature. The garage doors were replaced in 1968. Adjacent to the garage is the receding front entry feature. Walls curved back to meet the door, giving a sculptural impression that the walls were carved out to reveal the front door. The curves of this feature reinforce the curve of the solarium. The curve of the entry features appears to flow organically into the large adjacent chimney. Prominent chimneys were character-defining features of the Mediterranean Revival style and were usually evocative of Spanish belfry or an Italian-inspired tower. Merriam chose to keep the chimney as a prominent feature in this Mediterranean transitional home, but designed it as a modernistic sculptural element. The semi-engaged chimney is large and blocky, again evoking geometry rather than embellishment. The rectangular block rises through the roof a few feet with the modernistic Art Deco-inspired shoulder chimney top. While the east side of the chimney is on the same plane of the front facade, the west side projects from the plane. This side of the chimney stacks steps down. Its projection gives the impression that the adjacent cylindrical form of the solarium was carved back from the plane of the chimney. The stepped element visually draws attention to the adjacent cylindrical solarium, while simultaneously providing a balance for it. The overall geometry, size, and solidity of the chimney visually grounds the home and aids the horizontal emphasis of the design. When first placed on the market, ads highlighted the curved solarium. It is a hallmark feature of the home. Two character-defining features of modernistic art moderne are cylindrical forms and long horizontal window bands. Merriam used these elements for a dominant solarium element. Currently, it is largely obscured by vegetation. The 1968 historic photo here shows the full impact of this modernistic element. The semicircular solarium feature protrudes from the western end of the front facade. Wrapping around the feature is a continuous band of deeply inset windows, providing another strong horizontal element to the facade. In the modernistic fashion, there is no sill, and the large curved rectangular opening appears to be cut out from the half-cylinder mass. These windows were replaced at least twice. Based on historic photos, they were replaced between 1968 and 1991. The side facade behind the solarium remains largely intact to Merriam's design. These windows, much like those on other secondary facades, are recessed with no sills in the modernistic fashion. However, their size and proportion and placement are in line with Mediterranean Revival style homes. Likewise, the use of casements rather than clear view windows also aligns with the Mediterranean Revival style. The modernistic nod is the use of steel casements rather than wood. This facade retains its original steel casement windows. Due to the vegetation and lot restrictions, only a portion of the facade could be photographed. A current elevation drawing is provided for reference. The footprint of the home is the east-facing sea plan. Tucked in the crook of the sea is a covered patio porch. Initial sales ads state that the porch was purposely placed on the east side and configured to allow sunlight into all rooms. The efficient placement and banding of the openings align with modernistic principles. As stated, this porch was widened slightly in 1941. Simple curved rafter tails are found on the porch eaves. The rafter tails are a Mediterranean Revival style element. The porch remains in its 1941 screen configuration. The remainder of the facade reflects its 1935 design and retains its original steel casement windows. As mentioned, on the rear facade there was a small bathroom added in 1941. It is in the center of the facade. Since the 1941 addition, alterations to this facade have been minimal and reversible. On this facade is one of the remaining cast masonry vents. In keeping with the modernistic aesthetic, the decorative touches are minimal. Its geometric design is one of the few ornamental elements of the home. In conclusion, constructed in 1935, the single-family residence at 2509 Indian Mound Trail was amongst the first homes built during the New Deal era. Between 1930 and 1935, there were fewer than 90 homes permitted in Coral Gables. As construction tried to regain its footing in the 1930s, it shifted away from the elaborate Mediterranean Revival style of the 20s towards simpler and more modern designs that reflected the new aesthetic and priorities in society. In doing so, Coral Gables entered a new architectural era. The home at 2509 Indian Mound Trail helped to launch this new chapter in Coral Gables architectural history. 2509 Indian Mound Trail is one of the earliest representations of the Mediterranean transitional style in the city. It was one of 3 homes designed in this style by architect William Merriam for the Penciler Construction and Development Company in the spring of 1935. In this Mediterranean transitional style home, Merriam thoughtfully acknowledges the city's Mediterranean revival foundation while embracing modernistic aesthetics in a manner that harmonizes with Merrick's 1920s planned city. 2509 Indian Mound Trail retains its historic integrity. It is part of a collection of quality residences that contributes to the historic fabric of the city and its sense of place over time. Staff recommends approval of the local historic designation of 2509 Indian Mound Trail based on its historical, cultural, and architectural significance.
Presentation.
Elizabeth, could you come up on the screen just to, well, it was to introduce, but to exit the landmark report?
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
I can't get the audio to let me come up. But, Elizabeth Buin, Historic Preservation Coordinator, and in this presentation was a summary of the historic designation report that was prepared by staff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Yeah, Mr. Silva.
I just had a, before we start talking about this, I did have a procedural question. So this was a very thorough report. I'm very clear. If we are designating this, or we are looking at designation for this 2509 property specifically, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's other items on the agenda today that are separate from this, right? So procedurally, right? The applicant is requesting in a subsequent item, right? To merge these 2 properties and asking for a special certificate of appropriateness, assuming we designate this house, right? As far as I could tell, the neighboring house is not designated, am I correct?
No,
Is
it's
not designated. So just procedurally, a question, right? If we designate this house and the parcels get united, that means the entire property is now designated, correct?
Yes.
Is there anything different about the way we are doing this? Because normally when we designate a property, we're looking at the entire property, right? And we're designating the entire property. In this case, we're looking at half a property and then magically the designation extends, right? I just question procedurally how that works. Is that okay? Is that?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I mean,
It's just a strange
typically the
condition, right?
designation would apply to the entire site. So within this application, you are designating the current site at 2509, but you are also agreeing to expand that site into one site with the property next door.
On the next vote.
On the next vote.
Currently, it's just this
right.
site,
So that's why it's
this
like in the
building.
same, but it's the application is the local historic landmark.
There's 3 votes.
And then you would approve or deny the designation, and then you'd move forward to the COA.
Is that the right order?
Yes, you would need to designate it to review the COA.
All right, I have a
If
question.
not, you wouldn't review a COA.
What is the status of the other house? When was it built?
Around the same time period, that's what was stated in the report today. There's a series of houses on Indian Mound Trail that were constructed around the same time.
So the second house, which becomes half of the new house, that's going to be a contributing resource, or is that also?
It will be
going to be
part of the designated site.
Okay, so the designation will fall to that house as well, right?
Yes. I'm going with the parcel.
But the vote today, right now, is that one
This
house
current-
on that one site.
Yes.
Everything else is later.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I might, I'm here on behalf of the property owner, Mario Garcia Cerro, the office is at 600 Brickell Avenue. representing Vivian Sanchez and Christine Mugraj, both of which were with me today, owners of the property through their trust. We have come forward with a proposed designation. We've also come forward with a proposed special certificate of appropriateness. As you can imagine, both items are of importance to us. So while I know there would be a separate vote on each item, I would ask that the discussion be sort of contemporaneous on the two items, because for us, it's very important knowing what your thoughts are on the special certificate of appropriateness. So I'm not sure if it's appropriate now perhaps for staff to make their presentation on the certificate of appropriateness, and then we can combine our comments on both.
No, we'll just go ahead with the way we're doing it now, Mario, if that's okay. Right.
We're going to take just the historic designation vote.
Yeah, typically the votes are separate. That's how we've done it in the past.
Right, but could there be discussion on both items at the same time?
It's up to us.
I think if they weren't going to move forward with the designation, there would be no reason to review the COA. So that's why we review it one at a time.
So if it's okay with you, we'll go ahead and, we'll go ahead and.
Maybe that's a board
tally
decision.
that.
If
Would
we
you
could be
like to-
afforded time, though, to speak on both items, we'd appreciate it.
Would you like to make any kind of presentation on that or anything? Is there some discussion that you'd like to have while you're here?
We have a presentation. It really is more on the special certificate of appropriateness and what we are proposing. The historic designation, of course, is something that we have put forward, but we've put forward, of course, with there's certain thoughts in mind as to what we can do with the property.
All right, well then let us deal with that and then we'll come to the other items. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Another question, I'm sorry.
All right, please go ahead, Ms. Spain.
So, at some point, are we voting on joining the two properties?
Yes, within the accelerated
So
COA
wouldn't-
application.
Wouldn't that be the proper vote to take first? Because once they're joined, then automatically the designation would apply to the two properties? I don't know.
You'd have to
I just
designate
thought
the.
maybe it would be a cleaner take.
I think it might be up to the board if they want to have the discussion for both items and then do separate votes still. That could be a way to review this. That way you're looking at the project as a whole, but you would still have multiple votes. So again, I'm going to leave it up to the board to make that decision. Typically, we would look at the designation of the site and then move forward to this accelerated COA.
We don't have information on the other house, so I don't know how we
Right,
can
we don't
designate
have
it.
a designation report for this.
Just do it in the order as.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Please, Ms. Shield.
Through the chair, why didn't you look at 2515? Because the applicant brought up, can you tell me why? I don't know anything about this other home, the architect, or, why didn't we look at that one as well?
So what we're saying is that once you designate this one and attach it to the next house, or if it's approved, it becomes part of the designated site. So it will be part of our jurisdiction.
Right, I understand that, but the other home, 2515, doesn't it merit any significance of on its own?
We did not go into the designation report of it, but it does have a similar time period and everything else, so we would feel that it's appropriate to maintain its historic value by trying to do this addition in a way that, because now we're talking about both applications, so I apologize, but maintaining the houses look of two separate houses by attaching them at the rear and still protecting them under our purview. So it's just, I think, a way of procedure that we kind of tackled this. This is not your typical application, so if this works this way, maybe it doesn't, but, we found it to be the route to go, so it will still fall under our jurisdiction at the end of the day, if, again, both items are approved.
Okay, so in the future, would the second home that is not now designated, would there be a report filed on that as well, so it's on file, and so that the two are noted as two distinct, homes at one time that are now joined? No?
I don't think legally it would be necessary.
It wouldn't be
Wouldn't be
necessary.
necessary to do that because it
No.
would already be an addition to a historic home.
Okay, I don't think your mic's on, but that's okay.
It is.
Okay.
That's why I thought maybe that we're doing it ass backwards, but as long as we do it, I think it's fine.
For the purpose of
Has
the
this ever
designation,
been done before?
We have joined two properties that are already designated as historic. There's one on Alhambra, but they were already designated, and they were both contributing, they were both contributing, right? One was not contributing. One was a contributing, one was a landmark. That's right. Oh, that's right.
They were both
That's right. They
contributing,
were
but one
both
was individually
contributing, and then one was a
designated.
landmark, that's right. So that's the only other time since I was around,
Okay.
97.
Well, we did the other one here a couple of years ago. Yeah, Ms. Alvarez, you have a question?
Oh, I had the same question. It's only that one other example in Alhambra where they have been joined.
Yes.
Just from city attorney, the procedurally, if we take it in the order as we have said, it is proper procedure.
It should be, the designation criteria should be applied to the property being presented to you right now. What may or may not come before you for COA should not fall under consideration as part of the designation procedure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any further questions on Ms. Rolando? Mr. Silva? Okay. All right. All right, do we have anybody that's online? Did we receive any letters? Do we have anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against this particular designation? Hearing none, we'll close that to the public hearing, and we'll come back to us, and we'll look for a motion on this item. We're going to have 3 votes on this.
Right now, it's just one.
Yeah, I know, but for this one vote, okay, for the designation.
I'm happy to
Mr.
make the
Garcia
motion.
Pons.
Motion to approve the local historic designation of the property at 2509 Indian Mound Trail based on its historical, cultural, and architectural significance as referenced in the staff report, criteria number 4, or A4, criteria B1, and criteria B2.
Very good. Okay, we have a motion. I'd like to have a second, please.
I'll second it.
All right, Mrs. Spain, second. Would you please call the roll?
Ms. Alvarez?
Yes.
Ms. Shield?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Rolando?
Yes.
Mr. Garcia Pons?
Yes.
Ms. Spain?
Yes.
Mr. Maxwell?
Yes.
And Mr. Silva?
Yes.
All right, motion passes unanimously. Property is designated historic. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on now to the next portion of this.
First, second.
Yes, it would. Okay, we've been asked for just a quick break, bathroom break, so we'll grant that, and then we'll come back. Thank you. We'll be back at 10 till.
It will be fun, but it's kind of like powerful.
Okay.
With actually, the discussion.
Okay, so we've got.
Recording stopped.
convene the meeting. If everybody's had a quick break, we're going to continue on.
Recording in
Oh, I'm sorry,
progress.
we're waiting for Anna, but we'll go ahead and she'll be back in just a second. Mario, you're going to make a kind of an overall presentation?
Correct. Both myself and Nelson DeLeon, our architect, will
Okay.
be making a
And you're going
presentation.
to sort of deal with everything as a totality?
Correct.
Okay, and then we're going to break it up into votes. Okay,
Correct.
that'll be fine.
Yeah.
So. Okay, Anna, we ready? Are we ready, Mr. Okay. Okay, we're ready for you now.
Thank you. Let's go back.
Okay, let's see, what have we got here?
All right. Good afternoon. Just a quick recap of the description of the application. So the application presented request approval to unify 2 adjacent single-family properties into one parcel, design approval to join 2 historic single-family residences to create 1 single-family residence, and design approval for additions and alterations to the residences and site work. Variances have also been requested from Article 2, Section 2-101D6 for the ground area coverage, and Article 2, Section 2-101D4 for the minimum side and rear setback.
I'm going to cut you off just for a minute because we had a motion and a second, and we need to take a quick vote on the last item, okay, which was the designation.
No, we voted.
We did?
Yes.
Oh, okay, well, then that's fine, sorry. Okay.
That's okay.
Okay.
So the proposed project to connect the 2 residences through a new rear addition that remains minimally visible from the public right-of-way is consistent with the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation. The intervention retains the historic character of the site while allowing for compatible, differentiated, and reversible connection between the 2 structures. The proposed rear addition does not alter or obscure character-defining front elevation roof lines or architectural features, and most importantly, both houses remain individually discernible from the street, ensuring that the historic rhythm, scale, and massing of the neighborhood is preserved. In addition to the modifications, the additions, and the connection, the applicants are also requesting 3 different variances. One variance is to allow for ground area coverage of 5,310 square feet versus the required 35%, which is 4,981 square feet. It is the intention of the architect to create a cohesive design that would not overwhelm the existing 1-story residences by maintaining the new construction and the connector at 1 story and spreading out the footprint over the 2 lots. And staff agreed with that proposal, that intention, and is in favor of the variance. In addition, you have the grant the variance to allow for an addition to the side setback of 5 feet 3 inches. This is an existing condition at the 2509 residence. And to grant a variance to allow for an addition of a porch and a rear setback of 5 feet, which is compatible with the historic neighborhood, and zoning code allows historic board to allow over 5-foot rear setback for 1-story structures. As you know, this is not your typical application before you today. This is something that staff has been working on with the property owner and their representatives for nearly a year, over a year. So strategy and how we came before you today has been interesting for all of us to kind of figure out how the pieces come together. So I do understand that there are some questions about, how this goes forward. With the proposal before you, there are modifications that are going to be made to the 2509 Indian Mound Trail property. The building is in, we've all physically walked the structure. It is in pretty bad disrepair. So the owners are taking on a pretty big preservation project here. And so a lot of the conditions that you see today are also going to be impacted at, I think, during construction, because there's going to be more stucco repairs that I think we believe needs now. But as you get into the project, they'll be working with us and hand in hand, as they have been over the last year, to make sure everything is compatible within our recommendations and any other of their, they'll have some comments, I think, of the conditions before you today, but we're here to answer any questions you might have. And then there are modifications to the adjacent house to make this connector and to make this project work. So I'll allow Nelson and Mario to do their thing, and then we can come back and answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Anna. Mr. Chair and members of the board, my name again, Mario Garcia Cerro, with offices at 600 Brickell Avenue. Here today representing Vivian Sanchez and Christine Mugrage, the owners of the properties at 2509 and 2515 Indian Mound Trail. The project before you today, in my opinion, is a great example of how Coral Gables residents still care about historic preservation and of also thinking in an innovative manner so as to be able to preserve buildings which have historic value but which would be difficult to sell in this market due to the small size of particular buildings, as is the case here, and also, as is the case here, the very advanced state of disrepair in which 2509 Indian Mound is in. Christine and Vivian have been residing at 2515 Indian Mound Trail for many years. The former neighbor at 2509 Indian Mound was a long-time owner and resident at that address, but as time passed and with limited resources, the neighbor had challenges taking care of both herself and her home. Vivian and Chris assisted their neighbor as they could, and ultimately their neighbor moved out to a care facility and passed away shortly thereafter. The house was placed on the market, but as you will see, it is in an advanced state of disrepair, making it difficult to sell. At that point in time, Vivian and Chris made the decision to take on the task of purchasing the house and committing to restoring it and adding it to their home so that they could essentially create a two-building home connected by a gallery. This enables them to maintain the existing scale next to them and to have more available living area, which may also very well be utilized in their case for the care of aging parents so that they can move in. This is a unique proposal, but we have worked with your staff extensively to have this project to maintain and protect the historical integrity of the 2509 building. There are certain variances which we are requesting, which we will discuss later in more detail, but all three of the variances relate more to existing conditions and are supported by your staff. With that said, I'll ask Nelson now to walk you through the proposed plans.
Thank you, Mario. Nelson De Leon, Locus Architecture, 500 South Dixie Highway, Suite 307. Good afternoon, board members, staff. I'm going to walk you through this. I've prepared a lot of drawings because there's a lot to review. So I'm going to show you this house from every angle, from above, from every angle, and from ground level, from every angle that impacts the design. Just briefly, the two properties in question are the bottom center and bottom left image, and a couple of typical images of the neighborhood, mostly single-story homes, except for the home to the bottom right, which is equal in footprint to the entirety of 2509's property size. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on images that you've already seen, but you haven't seen the inside. These are actually after the home was cleaned up, but everywhere in the home is spalling stucco, cracked walls, broken windows. The other thing interesting about the home is that Miriam had designed this home with apparently several types of windows. Among them, clear view, steel putty casement windows, jalousie windows that are still in some of the bedrooms that you see in the bottom middle image. And then at some point, some repairs that were made, and you see an awning window in the top center image. 2509 is directly to the left of this home. So 2515, the only thing we're going to be modifying on this home is to the immediate left, which is the garage, and in front where we're going to propose a property wall. A few images of 2515. The bottom left is the entrance in Keystone. A few Keystone details on this particular home, and the current pool in the back and courtyard, which will remain. The two homes side by side, currently a large set of Auricas, which will be removed. So this is how the two homes exist side by side now in the neighborhood. 2509 just being slightly askew to 2515, 2509 being long and linear front to back, and 2515 being horizontal to the street facade. Highlighted in red are the 3 existing setback conditions that we're requesting a variance from. And then shaded in a diagonal is the areas that are either new construction or remodeled construction. And then the cross-hatching is the new covered terraces that we're proposing. Currently, neither home has covered outdoor areas. And then at the top of the image, a new property wall that we'll show you in greater detail, and a connecting drive-through from one property to the other. And the reason for this is, in essence, because the only other parking is on the swale. Right now, both homes have a straight driveway in, and to mitigate that issue, we just felt it's better to bring a small connecting driveway and get the cars off the swale and onto the property. Briefly, the home 2515 to the left of the image, the part we're restructuring here is the garage, and what we're going to do is raise the garage floor, raise the garage ceiling height, incorporate that into part of 2515. And then at 2509, the shaded area to the middle is the area that had been modified with a covered outdoor sort of porch element, rather narrow to use it as any really functioning space. So our idea is to capture that in its entirety and add to that our new expansion. So the connection to the 2 homes is actually a very narrow gallery. Off that gallery is a new covered summer kitchen, which is accessed from the new reimagined living room at 2515, family room rather. So once we raise that garage, we will incorporate that into a larger family room space, and at the same time, at the top end, expand the kitchen, which is relatively small, and add a butler's pantry to it. On the right side bottom, we'll add a new master suite, and then part of the interior of the home gets reimagined with a new cabana bath, and what was the kitchen now becomes a study element. And then to the right of that, the proposed new laundry and walk-in closet. And then very important, and we'll see this in other images, is between the garage of 2509 and that new laundry room we're proposing is a green slot. In that slot, we're proposing a full-height clear glass window that acts as the visual termination point to that connecting gallery. So as you walk from one side of the house to the other, we'll bring in natural light and visually open that up to a small area that'll have tropical planting. And in the evening, we imagine lighting that up so that it creates a little bit of visual interest. The home on 2509 overall is actually a very dark space. The windows are small, both horizontally and vertically, so part of the challenge here is to bring more light into 2509. The existing roofs, the areas that are shaded, are the areas that we're either touching or modifying. And then our areas that are shown here in a darker shaded area are the areas that are remodeled or new construction. The top 2 images are the front elevation. The very top image is how the 2 homes relate one to the other. There is a significant elevation difference between the 2 floors of 18 inches. There's also a significant slope from the extreme right-hand side to the extreme left-hand side along the property. So the second image down shows how we propose to connect 2515 to 2509. And in essence, we're just going to work with the step downs that already exist and create another step down at the gallery level, and then that steps down yet again when we touch to 2509. That new gallery is back about 15 feet from the front of, actually more than that, maybe more like 17 feet from the front of 2509. So it's actually in a slot that you'll see in greater detail. The bottom 2 images are the rear elevations. The very bottom showing in the middle the new summer kitchen with that raised garage that now becomes part of the family room with sliding doors that open up into that covered area. And then to the bottom right is the new master suite. The windows on 2509, and this is something we worked a lot with staff, were designed to be narrow and tall to give a nod to Miriam's window, whereas the windows at 2515, as you can see, are square modules. These will maintain the rectangular vertical module of 2509's historic window grid. The top image is 2509 viewed from the north side, and then we're taking the middle portion, which is currently a screened porch, and then reimagining that with a new laundry room. To the right of that is that large picture window. And then to the left of the laundry is a bedroom with, again, small windows, which we're proposing that flank with 2 fixed windows adjacent to it. The bedroom does require emergency egress, so that middle window, which is currently 2 panels, will convert to a single panel, but with a molding applied to the middle to represent that being 2 casements. The bottom 2 images are viewed from the extreme side of 2515, so what you see on the left side is 2515, and then way back is 2509. We have sections through the house that will more clearly show 2509. The upper image is the current side elevation of 2509 that faces into 2515. So our plan here is replace the windows in the sunroom. Where the current windows to the dining room are is our connection point with a gallery, which, as you can see, is a very narrow element that touches 2509. To the right of that is a door and double windows that were part of the original kitchen. So we're going to take the 2 edges of that and create in the new study 4 windows in the same width of the sunroom windows. And then the next element that you see is a door that is currently a bathroom that will turn into the cabana bath. And then the new wing, which is the master bedroom wing, again with small porch, and a lot of this is just to provide an outdoor seating area that where none exists now. The bottom image is taken through the new summer kitchen. We propose to have exposed wood ceilings and add height to that space. There's a slot between the summer kitchen and 2509, so it's transparent. There'll be greenery there, and we'll have some landscaping, some thin palm elements. The upper image is 2515 as it faces toward 2509. So the plan here is to raise that garage, level the floor with 2515, make that a much larger family room. And then the image below that is forward of the facade with the new connector gallery and the summer kitchen to the left. This is elevations of another home on the street that was done by Marion, but had similar elements. You can see on the upper right, the sunroom with the same proportions. To the left of that is a screened enclosure. So the screens were actually rather large, and taking a cue from those large screens is what we took a cue from to create that large picture window that terminates the axis of our gallery that connects one house to the other. We'll have multiple views of the proposed walls. The way I've designed the walls is because of the drop in the property is the walls fluctuate between 28 and 36 inch in height, and they sort of cascade down as the property cascades down. So the image at the end is a wall that looks relatively uniform in height all the way through, and we do that just with the step-down design. There are no gates designed, so the entryways into the home are just open between 2 slightly raised pillars at the end of the wall with a light fixture on top, a pier light. This is another stylized view of how those walls relate to the home. Several projects, or rather several homes on the site already have low walls, including one that I had done across the street some years ago using 30-inch high walls. So that contextually, there's a few walls in the neighborhood already at this height. So I'm going to show you now several views, several angles, aerial views. This is how both homes currently relate one to the other. And then this is the connection between the two. In the middle, you see a very thin connector, which is our gallery connecting from 2515 to 2509. The homes as they exist today and then as proposed with this low wall in the front. The wall will be set back from the sidewalk 8 to 12 inches, and we'll have a little bit of greenery in front of that wall. And then this is a view standing back, looking at the two properties together with the addition, the slightly raised garage, and the property walls. Purposefully, I've left the landscaping off to focus on the architecture, so you could see exactly what's happening between the two homes, how they relate to each other, and how the roofs step down one to the other. This is the same thing from the aerial view now that we're looking at from 2509, and the connection between the two homes and the addition to the back. And then the same thing from the rear, the two homes as they exist now. And then the connections at the rear showing the two porches, the new master wing at the bottom. At the bottom right is the master bath with a tub alcove that pops out and gives a little detail to the rear of that facade. A view of the current pool courtyard condition minus any of the landscaping, and then our proposed connection between the two, showing the new two covered areas and their transition from one to the other. You're going to get tired of seeing 3Ds, but I figured I'd cover all the angles for you. Is this your slide?
That's really more to talk about some of the conditions of approval. I think what we'll talk about now, we are requesting some variances, and maybe Nelson, go back to the image that showed the red arrows where the variances are proposed. The variances for setback are variances on sides of the property where the existing setback is already at 5 feet, either in the rear or on the side. So as you can see there in red squares, that setback is pre-existing. Since we're doing work on each of those sides, we also need to request a variance because we are working on that side and in some cases coming close or matching that condition, but it's a condition that already exists as far as the setbacks are concerned. On lot coverage, we do have the challenge, of course, that these were two primary homes, so they had a certain amount of lot coverage. We're now looking to combine them, and the amount that we're going over in lot coverage is about 329 square feet. Not a significant amount when you consider everything else. The pool area, for example, is 420 some square feet there. So it's just a combination of existing building and proposed building sort of coming about and creating that. We are within the amount of floor area that is permitted for this property. So that's our discussion on variances, all of which are being recommended for approval by your staff. And I think we wanted to talk a little bit, Nelson, about the conditions, right? I think the first 5 in particular, and I think with Anna, we could have a little interaction on that, because on the very first condition of approval, if you could read it there, Nelson.
Yeah, I can go through the conditions. So the first one is window and door buttons to be high profile. Our request here is to go full view in the totality of 2509. And the reason for that is there was a number of window styles from the beginning. The sunroom, which is the main architectural feature of the home, was always full view. The adjacent home, 2515, is full view. There was a combination always of steel and putty and jalousie and full view and screen. It is a very small home, 2 bedrooms with a very small footprint. The amount of windows that were original steel and putty that would be reincorporated if we had to go in that direction is probably 5 windows. So at the end of the day, I thought architecturally, aesthetically, it made more sense because all of those windows are in repurposed rooms to just go full view.
And on that topic in particular, I think, Anna, the conversation we had earlier, historically, the vast majority of windows, as far as we can tell, based on what we have for 2509, did not include buttons.
Right, the ones at the solarium, that front room would, and the drawings since the drawings weren't found for 2509, we kind of referenced the ones for 2501, which I believe is in the designation report, and they also referenced them here today. It actually specifically says no muntins. So that circular room didn't have muntins to begin with, at least in the evidence that we have based off of the drawings for the building next door. And like, so the drawings that we're referencing are for a building that is next door, adjacent to this property, because the drawings for this house were not found. So the original drawings that, I think, Nelson, you had it, if you can put it back up. There's actually a note on the drawing that says no muntins. I don't know if it's that one. It's also within the designation report. But the other house, the other windows on the house do have muntins, but as Nelson was saying, that almost every single opening is either being modified or changed due to the situation of the new additions and the proposed from the rear and the side. And then the windows on the left side of the 2509 back is actually where there was an addition, where that screened enclosure where the laundry room was, is also all new. So almost every opening is being altered. I think the intentions there were to do windows in the same proportion of a casement window, but not have muntins, since none of these other areas are going to be visible from the public right-of-way, and they're either behind the connector piece or in a recessed area. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
And you're not touching the windows in the other?
No, the windows at 2515 are staying the same.
Okay. So you're just talking about these few in this one?
Right.
So you're saying that you don't find any evidence that the windows in the curve had muttons on it, and you're saying that the plans show that it's not?
Yeah, so in the
divided?
designation report for 2509, at the rear, we have the drawings for a property that is similar in style and construction, which is the ones that Nelson had kind of put up, but it's not the same elevation drawing. There's actually a note, where did I put it? That says, steel, no muntins. And it's within that circular room.
But all the other front windows did have muttons?
Well, this house specifically doesn't have front windows.
Yeah, the little house, right, okay.
The ones toward the rear and the back would have, but again, all of those openings are pretty much either being altered or changed due to the location of the additions that they're proposing.
Thank you.
And one thing that we do have is a historic photo of 2509 that at least shows that the circular solarium windows didn't have muntins. So I think now we'll go on to discuss condition number 2, which has to do with glazing.
Yes, clear glass. So clear glass has become a real challenge these days because of energy conservation and energy calculations. But we did discuss this with staff, and our plan is to submit glass samples for them to review prior to moving forward on ordering windows. Item 3 is
That one, we would propose a bronze tint, not to have it clear. And I think if we can share the screen, we have an example of what is clear and what is bronze tint, and it's not really too much of a difference.
Let's don't get into that now.
You don't need to?
No,
Okay.
let's keep moving the direction.
So let's keep on going. Just about 3 more to discuss. So on.
which one do you want to discuss next?
Let's go in order.
I was going to discuss all of them.
No, I think we only need
All
to
right.
go to number 5. Go ahead, number 3.
Roof tile.
Correct.
To be a true barrel tile. So we have noted on the plans the tile to be true barrel. In further discussions with the owners, their current home has an S-tile, which I believe I'll show you in a moment, that they brought with them. They also brought a sample of a barrel tile that's in the same color range. Their desire would be to keep both homes with an S-tile rather than having an S-tile at 2515 and a true barrel at 2509.
And how old is the roof at 2515?
It's like 12 to 14 years.
I thought they said it was 1991. Yeah, 30 years.
The house 2515 is the next door house. The house that you're talking about is 2509.
Okay.
So the house we're connecting to, the roof is 12 to 14 years old.
Number 4, we already
So at some point, you're going to have to redo that roof.
And staff would recommend an S tile. That's, I'm sorry, not S tile, I apologize, a barrel tile, which is what's in the conditions.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
And the last condition to discuss would be the front door.
Would be what, Mario?
The front door
Front
of
door.
2509, which we are looking to, it's somewhat dated right now, it has lost the screen that it had previously, and we're looking to incorporate a door inspired by the original door, but which incorporates some glass.
Do you have a
So
photo?
on the slide that's up now, on the upper left, is a representation of the home prior to the screen door being removed. And just below that is a screen door. It's not as busy as that image, it would be a thin metal. The idea is, going back again to the home being so dark, that the original home always had a screen door with a metal design on that door. So the door which is behind the screen door, the wood door, was really never visible until you came to visit the house and you opened the screen door and then they opened the wood door. So from the street, the screen door was what was always visible. So our proposal is to have a door that's a glass door with the proportions of the screen door with a metal design on front of that door to give a nod to the original screen door design, but allow us to get more light into that living room space.
Have a photograph of the door?
Existing.
This is a photograph of an idea of what, the new door would be, right,
No,
Nelson?
but do you have a photograph of the existing door that they're
Yep.
saying you have to?
It's in the report, but also at the beginning of the presentation, there's photos, I believe, that I had added.
Of the COA report?
The COA report.
Yeah, they're not on mine, they'd be on their report.
Right. We say we go far back enough. Oh, there's a picture of the door.
There's a historic photo with the photo of the screen door, too. Keep going.
We go further
Go
back.
back. Yep. Go
There.
Hard to see, but that's the one.
Any other photo?
In the designation report, there was a few from I think the screen door was there up until recently, right? Or is it still on site? I can't remember. No, they're in this photo, you can see it. There's a 90s photo.
Yeah, here we go. Sort of.
And then the other
Pretty
one.
hard to see.
That's the screen.
Yeah.
Can see the screen door, but
Yeah.
can't really see the other door.
Well, that's what you're not debating that the original door was wood, you're trying to match the screen door, that's the proposal. You're trying to find us the screen door, a clear image of the screen.
Yeah, we're, rather than replace the wood door with a new solid wood door, replace the wood door with a door that gives a nod to the screen door, but is an impact rated door with a metal design in front.
There you go, that one.
Right.
And there would be no other front door? That would be the front door?
That would be the front door, correct.
That's
Yeah, you can see that
Yeah.
it's sort of a triangular or something, it's smaller thing.
Hurricane impact.
Do you see missions there?
It could be. It says we can see it better on the screen.
Okay, I think I'll just have some closing comments.
And you agree to all the rest of the,
The other conditions of approval, we don't have any
Okay,
comment on. Yep, we worked on them extensively with staff, and these top 5 ones were the ones we had discussion. So, in conclusion, it is harder and harder to preserve and adaptively reuse historic homes because of ever-appreciating land values and buyer demands for bigger homes. And what we're proposing here today is something which responds to that challenge and responds sort of with some innovation. We feel that this proposal is in that spirit and provides the best opportunity to protect the history and scale of this property and make it truly livable for my clients. Thank you very much. We have the whole team here available for any questions or comments.
Thank you very much. Appreciate both of you. Okay, questions from the board? Questions of the board, for the presentation?
What an interesting thing. What an amazing, interesting plan. And whoever thought of purchasing that other house and combining it, kudos to you, because it's really a fascinating project. Very cool.
Hasn't been
Mr.
easy.
Garcia Pons.
Hey, thank you. I had a lot of questions, but I now have two, which is great. The first one is really a question to staff with regards to one of the variances. The 2 5-foot variances on the sides, I think, they meet all the criteria. I'm not sure if the first variance meets all the criteria, specifically criteria number 2, which is that the special conditions and circumstances do not result from the actions of the applicant. I'm having a little bit of trouble understanding how the
I can
joining
answer
of the
that,
site
if you like.
and the other additions.
So-
I asked staff.
Oh.
Yeah, I can.
I'll ask you in a second.
We'll see if we have the same answer. But no, I understand, and I think that's something that we had discussed, because our intention of this project was finding a way to do this addition so that it didn't overwhelm the structure, and by not going up, you have to go out. And that was our kind of way of making sure that they could still preserve the structure within the existing footprints and still be able to create a connector piece that can make the 2 houses usable as one single-family home.
So I think all the other criteria are perfect. It's yes to all of them. I'm still not sure if that answers that question. Mr. De Leon, would you?
Okay, thank you. So 2515 has a non-conforming 5'3" setback at the moment at the rear corner. The addition we're proposing at the master bedroom suite has one corner of it, which is the porch, which will be at 7'1". We're actually not coming to 5 feet. It'll be at 7'1". I think 5 feet was put as a sort of a safety factor because of the language that's in the code, but it's 7'1". If the porch would be removed, the main bedroom itself would be at 10 feet.
So I'm fine with the side setbacks. My question is with regard to the 35% lot coverage.
Okay, the 35% lot coverage?
And I was hoping that you'd have some math of the existing buildings on their sites that would give some rationale as to why you have to exceed 35% through no action or fault of your own.
So we did, related to your question, maintain the landscape requirement without requiring a variance. As you know, the code has a bunch of things to juggle. The addition of the covered porches, the summer kitchen in particular, is what takes us over the number. So our thinking was, neither home has an outdoor space at the moment that you could sit outside, enjoy that beautiful pool courtyard view. So we're requesting humbly that that variance get approved so that there's covered seating area outside the home.
So again, I understand the question, I understand the intent. It is still 329 feet over, and it's because you're adding an addition. Like you're causing this overage. You can choose to make it 329 feet less, and then it wouldn't be an issue.
Can I interrupt? I'm sorry.
Sure.
No, just because it's going to help with that math. So there's a new text amendment that allows for what would have been detached porches to now be attached and still fall in the additional 10% calculation. Does that help you with the math?
So that was,
Yes,
I
when we
think-
apply, right, when we apply the new code, that disappears. But in an abundance of safety, because there are tweaks to the code and it's a brand-new thing, we didn't know how long that was going to last. So we decided, let's just go with a variance. If the code sticks with that change, which I think just occurred
Yeah, it's online. It's
relatively recently,
Yes.
then we're completely in compliance. And then the variance becomes a non-issue.
Right, so
And
then
we
that,
also have in the past not wanted the applicant, particularly if they're adding outdoor space where there isn't any outdoor space, to alter the historic home to get it. And so, although I guess technically it's that they're doing, it's because the nature of the historic home. So the hardship is that it's a historic home. In the past, when we've been working with just one property, because it's historic, you didn't want to alter it, and so you would allow them to do the larger square footage, and you also didn't want them to go up. So it was the historic nature of the property, not so much because you're allowed to do so many square feet in a house. And so if you don't want them to do a second floor addition, then the only thing they can do is increase the lot coverage. So that's how we've looked at it in the past.
Okay, Mr. Silva.
Were you done, Mr. Garcia-Ponce?
Is it the same item?
Well, I was just gonna, I have other questions.
No,
and
so
concerns,
it's actually, and this is again, clarity from staff, is because we were informed that if there's a no as part of any of these things, then it's not acceptable, which is why I was hoping that the applicant or the staff would talk about what Ms. Alvarez mentioned, which this is out of an abundance of caution and that the current laws would allow this to happen. And I don't know if the applicant wants to confirm that, because it is, in my opinion, a no for number 2, unless it is covered otherwise.
Let me try to address that. So that current change to the code is in process and would potentially provide the relief. But at the same time, as Mrs. Spain was
I'm
already
sorry,
talking.
is it in process or has it been approved?
It's been approved.
Oh, okay.
And that's for staff. Let me get that clarity from city staff.
Does that address our issue?
I'm not familiar with when it passed or if it passed on Tuesday or not.
I personally have a project at the city where that depended on that code amendment, and
Yeah, the zoning review occurred.
it was approved by the commission. And
December?
it's in the
Then
code
what
right
I'm
now.
gonna do is I'm gonna put my question on hold, and I would like for city to confirm whether it was passed, and then that goes aside. And I'm sure we have many more other questions to talk about.
Okay.
Okay, are you finished? Okay,
But
Mr.
I
Silva.
think, I mean, I still want to argue, it's not an argument, but I would like to just clarify that, this is a project that you're working on that is not a vacant lot. So you're starting, the hardship is already that you're starting with ground area coverage that exists. So to make any modifications to that site, you have to allow for the preservation, of the site. This is where that variance allows to do both things and make them usable. So our recommendation and their intention was not to alter the building to a point that it would be, an overwhelming mass on top of the building and doing a second floor by going low and staying at that ground floor level. And staff was supporting that and actually recommending that they move forward in that direction rather than come up to us with it.
And that's not the question I have. Out of the 8, 7 of them, I completely understand. I have
But you're
questions
also
about
looking
that
at it as
one. I'm looking at the question as asked. So
Right.
if you can find out if it's passed, that
Okay,
would be super helpful.
We'll
Thank you.
work on it.
But I do think that if we need to go forward with this variance, because I don't want them to get into the zoning department and have to do that battle with zoning.
I don't disagree.
And it's totally appropriate to do that on this property.
I'm gonna
All right, okay.
I'm gonna
So,
find it for, and I'll give it to them.
Mr. Garcia,
to show
Ponce,
to
you finished?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Silva, I'm sorry.
So I have some general comments, but before I get into that, kind of piggybacking on what Cesar was saying, was that just looking at this quickly, it seems as if you were pretty close to non-conforming to begin with on one of those sites, right? So if you have that calculation somewhere, Nelson, as to what the existing 35% rule was, because to me, just looking at it, seems like you were over, and then the easement, then the variance is very simple to grant, right? It's an existing non-conformance. We're allowing you to add, so I think that's where maybe you're asking, right? So that's one thing, right? The second thing was in general. I think this is a great approach, right? I think it's a way for preservation to function in a different way than what we're used to seeing, right? We're kind of all confused but in reality, you're respecting that house almost 100%, right? You're not touching that. Whereas someone else could have bought that lot and done a 2-story addition that was allowable by FAR, as allowable by code. We would have reviewed it, but to me, this concept of uniting these 2 lots from a historic preservation perspective, it offers kind of more protection to each house, right? That's one thing. the second thing, and where it gets a little tricky, is urbanistically how it works, right? Lot size, right, house size. So how we connect this thing becomes really, really critical, right? And I think you've done a really great job of the connection of the step down. I think the connection occurs to the rear, so I think that's very well done. The only comment that I have on that connection is the final little piece, right? And you can't, and I may be nitpicking here because that connection happened sort of around the corner from the rounded volume, right? But there's one of your renderings in the package, which really, these are not numbered, but it's sort of the, I don't know if you want to pull it up in your presentation, Nelson, or if you, it's the frontal rendering.
CGTV, could you put the PowerPoint back up?
It's sort of the pencil rendering, right? Where you can see it almost in elevation, but it's a perspective drawing right towards the back.
Are you referencing the section view through?
No. It's like a rendered elevation. No, not it's. I don't know if you can see it.
Turn it around.
Yeah, it's this one, Nelson. It's almost like a pencil rendered.
Okay.
Sort of to the back of the
Yeah, it's
presentation, right?
the combined.
Yeah.
Is you talking about this one?
It's coming up.
Yeah, that one. Right.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait.
So
Next
it's the
one.
next. It's one of that. I think it's
The next one. No,
Wait,
no,
go
you went
back.
too far.
I think you passed
yes,
it.
we did.
Oops.
Go back. No.
This family, it was.
Not that one.
No, it's not that one. It's not that one. But in any case, my point is I would. So right now the roofs are all sort of connecting, right? In a you're doing like a telescoping kind of gable stepping down, right? I think that there's an opportunity in that last step down where it's only the gallery, right? Where you're clear of the volume of the porch and all that in plan. It's probably an 8-foot long piece of gallery. There's an opportunity there to do a flat roof and glass on both sides so that really reads as a separation, right? And as you're walking down the street, and that's why this rendering is really the one where you see the best, right? Where you would see a distinct separation between the houses. There'll still be joint, it's still air-conditioned space, but that thing allows you to separate.
Is that one?
And it allows the roofs also to work independently of each other as well. So whatever you do on one roof, you know, if you need to re-roof one of them in the future or something, you're not married to doing it all together, right? It's a clean separation, and I think it would help the two houses read separately, right? It's a little change, but I think it would go a long way too.
Mr. Silva, can I
Yeah,
add?
Sure.
So I agree 100%. I think even just removing the pitch and making it a flat roof across would make sense. I think it might be tied into the porch roof in the back that you're adding. So it, quite frankly, could all be flat. And then that way, that whole plane is flat. And then you have the two houses have their own roof systems. And then it's very clear that they're separate. And I know you may haven't thought of it, but it's going to work.
Well, I thought of it, and I got, my clients told me if I wanted to stay on the project, I better figure out something
Got
different.
it. Okay.
you're still employed.
For now. I'm sorry, go ahead, Alex.
So that's just general. I think in general, the project's very good. It's very well thought out. I guess in terms of the variances, I think again, the side variances are a slam dunk. I sort of fall in Donna's camp on the interpretation of the other variance on the FAR, in terms of the way we analyze this and look at this. I think it is merited in this case. If that zoning amendment has passed, even better. And if the existing house, if one of those existing houses is an existing nonconformance or very, very close to it, then that helps as well. But I would vote in favor of the variance. The windows, the Munson pattern on the windows. So I think it's clear that the round piece doesn't get them. And to me, we're doing so much work in terms of changing the openings, and there's so few openings on the smaller home that I'd be okay with that. The two-piece barrel tile, I think that's something, again, I know we're supposed to look at it case-by-case basis, but that's kind of a no-brainer, right? That it should be two-piece barrel. Now, that being said, this is a very strange situation, and if there was a break between the two roofs, that's, I don't know, that's something that is open for discussion, right? It's two distinct volumes, and maybe that could be entertained because we don't really have a lot of historic information on that 2515, right? Even though it's incorporated as part of the parcel, and that's something we were getting at before when we were having that discussion. But if there's a break between the two, then maybe that's something that we could, that I could consider. And I think those are the main issues you had, right?
What about the front door?
The front door, I'm kind of on the fence, but I think if we're gonna maintain that integrity of the original house, I think I would be in favor of leaving it solid.
Leaving the original one?
Leaving the original one if it's in decent shape, but if it's not.
Or replicate it as is. Okay. Mr. Silva, you done?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Rolando, do you have any questions?
I'm in the two-piece barrel tile. I'm not going with S.
Okay. Ms. Shield, do you have any questions you'd like to have the attorney, the architect?
Just a comment that one historic home is a project, and putting the two together, I think you've worked really hard to do that, and you're taking on that task, and I appreciate that.
All right. Ms. Alvarez, anything else? You've got some notes in front of you.
Just quick, so I think we located the
Please
text
speak into
amendment.
the-
If you want, we located the text amendment, if you want to hear it. Anna has it.
You have to highlight it. So there's a portion that was added in September that was, which one's starting at 1 or 2-story open-air accessory structures may be attached to the principal building, subject to the Board of Architects review and approval of the massing of the open-air accessory structures as it relates to the building. Detached accessory buildings or structures shall maintain a minimum separation of 5 feet from the principal building to encourage historic designation. The Board of Architects shall have authority to grant a 10% increase of ground area coverage to accommodate historically designated structures in accordance with the design standards of that board.
Does it say detached?
No, you said attached.
Yeah, they can be attached, but counted in
be
the
attached.
detached number.
I'm sorry, I just heard detached. Like,
Sorry.
Could you read that
I'm
again
gonna-
more
I'll read
slowly
the-
so we could hear
Yeah,
and
sorry, let me-
understand?
Anna, you've got to speak up a little bit into the mic.
So it starts with, a maximum of 35% of the building site shall be covered by the principal building and shall include cantilevered portions of the building except balconies. Accessory buildings or structures, including swimming pools, may occupy additional ground coverage, but the total ground area coverage occupied by the principal building or structure and accessory structures shall not exceed 45% of the building site. 1 or 2-story open-air accessory structures may be attached to the principal building, subject to the Board of Architects review and approval of the massing of the open-air accessory structure as it relates to the principal building. Detached accessory buildings or structures shall maintain a minimum separation of 5 feet from the principal building. To encourage historic designation, the Board of Architects shall have authority to grant a 10% increase of ground area coverage to accommodate historically designated structures in accordance with the design standards of that board.
thank you.
So I think that solves the problem.
It does.
Yep. Oh. If you don't mind, come up, Vivian, Chris, let's talk about everything. They're the end users of the property, so we want to make sure that they're. So what you've heard so far, I think you wanted to make a comment on the door, right?
Hi, good afternoon.
Right.
Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to be here and for supporting the project. We've worked very closely with staff and appreciate all the time and dedication that they've given to us to preserve the home. First of all, I appreciate the comments and your willingness to help us with some of the conditions. I think the only one we would want to discuss a little further may be that front door, if you don't mind, for 2509. We had originally, as we had said, it's a very dark home, and we had originally explored having a window there in the front. but we realized that that would eliminate the integrity of that structure, and we wanted to maintain that at all cost, which is why we are putting a lot of cost into maintaining that property. And so what we thought is to also maintain the integrity, we could have replicate and mimic that front screen. And we could accomplish two things by doing that, right? First, the integrity of the home, because when you actually look at it and you look at some of the other properties on the block, they do have that screen, and that's really the only thing you see. And so we did look at some samples and some models of what could be done, which would help us accomplish many things. One would be light into that space without having to ruin the front facade integrity. It would also allow us to actually have the visual look, because if you actually look at that wood door, it does eliminate sort of the carvings and the space that is so important for that architectural, because that big white sort of block door does not allow for the flow in our perspective from what we saw. So it would help us accomplish that. The other thing, that door is actually extremely deteriorated. It has mold, has been there for many years, as you would imagine, and it also doesn't allow us for hurricane safety. One of the main reasons that Mario alluded to is I have 92-year-old parents, and the goal of actually attaching these homes is actually to move them in with us. And so again, I think for safety and for integrity, we'd also like you to reconsider for support. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think that concludes our presentation.
Thank you very much.
Reserve time for rebuttal if necessary.
All right, well, be sure to ask you any questions if we have them. Okay, we're going to close this portion, and we're going to open it up to the public. Is there anybody here in this audience that would like to speak for or against this other than the people that have already spoken? Hearing none, is there anyone online? There are none, so we're going to close the public hearing. So this is going to come back to the board. Okay, board, discussion.
I should have done this previously. Can I see the image of the bronze tinted window?
No.
I just want to see it because I would love
We need to
to
have the
have
staff
it in the.
handle
I
it.
have another comment on that.
I just want to see it because you mentioned it and I haven't seen it. And that's it. If you can share the
I also
screen with
haven't
me,
seen it.
that'd be great.
We will show it as
We don't have it.
soon as we get it on. As soon as we get online, we'll be able to show it. Yeah.
I mean, you can.
Is it relevant?
You can literally just show the screen to all of us here.
Is it relevant?
That's easier, Bobby, to do that.
Caesar.
It's part of the condition, so it should be discussed so that it's clear for staff on how to move forward. Because our typical recommendation is to go with a clear glass.
Anna,
I understand
you've got to
that
get a little closer.
they want to go with a glass that has a little bit of a tint so that it falls in line with the rest of the property. So we would look at it typically administratively, but if it's something that you all want to look at, they have an example, it's probably important to see.
He wants to see it.
CGTV, can we share screens? Oh.
Well, we had it up a second ago, so we'll get it. It is a very minor difference. It's
Do you
important to
have it
them
now?
also, though, for heat.
Because one of the houses has the tint already?
2515 does have a tint in the glass.
Because if it's a pure energy calc issue, you've been able to work with MEP engineers adjusting the other systems to get a clear glass to work.
Do we have any other questions here or any discussion here on the board here as we're contemplating further? Ms.
I actually
Rolando?
don't have a problem with
Yeah,
them.
hang on, Ms. Spain. I'm talking to Ms. Rolando. Ms. Rolando, do you?
Anyone have a comment?
I'd like to see the
hell?
sample door and the window
All right,
tints.
thank you. Okay.
If we
I
could
know
pull up the
Ms. Spain,
presentation
yeah.
pretty,
See the door and the
please.
Mr. Chair, we could probably take a vote on the variance if you want to do that.
I'm sorry?
We could probably take a vote on the variances as we look at the other things.
Yeah, we don't have to do the first approval right now. We can wait just a little bit. They don't have to be in order, do they, Mr. Attorney? No, okay. So we've got a motion to approve a variance to allow ground area coverage, or we will have an emotion to do that, of 5,010. So it would be the second approval. Take a look at that board and see if we want to move that together first, and then go to the one that approves all the architecture as well.
You think that?
Were there any other comments from the board members? Because I feel like there
I was
wasn't.
just going to say on the front door issue, if it's deteriorated, I appreciate the images of the screen door, and I wouldn't have a problem if they eliminated the original door and just had that screen. I think it'd be probably back to what it looked like originally, more than having that door there.
Ms. Alvarez, do you have anything to add?
Oh, I was just going to mention the initial comments I had. I didn't get to share that. So in general, I struggle with two houses coming together, but I know this is done very skillfully, and I understand all the reasons that I guess brought the group to this decision, and I compliment the team and the architect for the subtle connection. I think the 30-inch walls are nice and help with the layering of the house. I just wanted to bring that up. I have found that on the S tiles, sometimes it doesn't go past 17 or 18 years, so at some point, if you have to change it, like we were saying, it would be nice to bring it all to barrel. And I'm okay with the 3 variances.
All right, thank you. Board, any other questions, discussion? All right.
Mr. Chair, we do have the tint up on the screen now.
I'm sorry, yeah, here we go.
We have the tint up on the screen.
It's a better image.
So that's
over there. This
clear.
one looks
That's
black.
bronze.
Oh, excuse me, that's bronze, okay. Do the clear first?
That's clear.
Okay.
Bronze.
Yeah, you're
There's
not
no
good.
way we're gonna be able to see it on the screen.
Samples.
That- But if
A
you
little bit better.
do a different color, you can, you start telling the difference. So
No, it just doesn't work on the screen. Thank you very much, though.
Thank you very much.
So, Mr. Chair, I'm happy to make a motion on the variances unless you want to do
I've
the whole
got,
thing.
I've got a couple of comments. No, I'd like to do on that. First of all, we have an opportunity here to bring this house back. And I understand, the property owner's discussion of darkness, but I also know how to put lights in a house. And you've got an opportunity here to really to do something that's significant. And what we're seeing on the Historic Preservation Board is an erosion of the character of homes. In the back of the home, it's fine, but in the front is our principal facades. And it's really very important to try to maintain these, because as we let one go, then everybody else gets let go. If we begin to change our standards, then the standards get changed, and we no longer have the preservation, that we're seeking. The proposal is excellent. This is really very good, Nelson, and I applaud all of you for doing this rather than building something up high and seeking to connect this. The comments that the board has made are very good, and I think that they add to this. The comments that the staff has, I think, are exceptional, and it gives us an opportunity to do that. There's a lot, that could be done with this, and I think that what's going on and the proposals are good, but what the board is tasked with is trying to maintain standards to a barrel tile roof, 2 pieces, and they've given you a good solution to do that. 2 different buildings, okay? And when the other building comes back, okay, it would have had barrel tile, 2-piece barrel tile originally too. So when that comes back, there'll be a match. I would also be very keen to say that there needs to be a ghost outline where the garage is being removed. And I would even consider larger windows if that's possible, or something that's going to show that was a void at some time. Because as you move across, it begins to make it slightly massive, in my opinion. I would also highly encourage a deep landscaping where what I'm going to call the hyphen that connects the buildings, comes together. So that it reads from the street nicely. I walk by this all the time, and I've always been distressed about, the house is falling into continual disrepair, but I've always been very grateful that it's like it is intact. And so I think that's something that we should try to aspire to. We're all spending a lot, everybody spends a lot of money doing these things. So, let's try to do the right thing, and the right thing for the future, not just for us today, but into the future. I would also encourage you to begin to look at historic paint colors and things. Most of these houses were not really painted. The stucco was there, particularly in the 20s, and it was just raw. But the windows were all dark because they were wood, and maybe in the 30s they were metal as well, but they were always painted a darker color, to contrast from the house and so that there's some movement. So it's something worth looking into. But other than that, I think that this is really an excellent solution, and I encourage you, to continue on with it. So thank you. Okay, those are my comments.
Through the chair, Mr. Dillon, could you confirm that 1-inch recess where the garage door is? Because we couldn't read it on the plans, but I think it's there. Just for Mr. Maxwell's, because we couldn't read the words.
Yes, it's there.
Thank you.
It's a slight offset?
1 inch.
Or just
1 inch offset.
It's a slight offset. Thank you very much. Okay, board.
Mr. Chair, if I could,
Yes, if
your
you-
indulgence, just one quick point, especially on the window tinting.
Hold
as it
on.
occurred-
Mario, if I could
Sure.
just ask CGTV to take down the top PowerPoint since we're having discussion now.
Yep.
Thank you.
In the spirit sort of cooperation, what you said, and trying to find a compromise on the window tinting issue, would it be acceptable to use that bronze tint in the rear?
I'm going to defer that to staff because, that's really a standardization, of what staff tries to put forth, and you're working with staff on the windows already. If you can, in my opinion, if you work that out with staff, that's fine with me, okay?
Okay, that helps.
So, thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to call for a motion.
Do we have to go public first?
I'm sorry?
Public comment, do we need to do that?
We already did that, and there's nobody here. Yeah, so I'd like to, for those of you for the board to pull up its, the last page, please, where we have the motions to approve. And I'd like to start really with the second one, which is the motion to approve a variance to allow ground area coverage of 5,300 feet. Okay.
Don't we need to join the lots?
You could make one motion for all of the
Yes.
items. You don't need to make separate motions for each one,
It makes
unless
that easier
there's
for
different
staff, actually.
recommendations
as
for each
one?
one.
Right.
The one thing I would ask, excuse the interruption, the conditions, if anything has changed as a result of the discussion, let's maybe
Bring that up.
memorialize that to make sure we've got it
I
right.
can try to make a motion.
All right, Ms. Bain,
Only at a
give it a
time.
go.
I'd like to make a motion to approve with the following conditions, the proposal to unify 2 adjacent single-family properties into one parcel, approval to join 2 historic single-family, 2 residences to create 1 single-family residence, and design approval for the additions and alterations to the residence at 2509 Indian Mound Trail. You don't mention the adjacent property. Yes, thank you. I can do it. Now, the conditions, there are 12 conditions listed, sorry. I feel like I'm in some kind of a. Okay. There are 12 conditions noted in the staff report. Number 1 is about the windows to be, and doors to be months to be high profile. I would eliminate that. The window and door glass to be clear with no tint, no reflective, no low E. That needs to be worked out with staff. The roof tile is to be true 2-barrel tile. I would agree to that. It should be a true 2-barrel tile. The rest of them, other than number 5, which is the front door, is original to the home. I'm comfortable having that be this is my motion, Mr. Maxwell. I'm comfortable having that be a glass door with trying to recreate the screen door. And the rest of them would be according to the staff report.
Do you want number 5 to work with staff? Or do
You can work with staff on that.
Right.
actually.
And if I may, on 4, there's a reference to high-profile mountains. I think that should be dropped also, too.
Yes, I agree. And a motion to approve a variance to allow ground area coverage of 5,310 square feet versus the required minimum ground area coverage in a single-family residential district not to exceed 35% of the building site or 4,981 square feet pursuant to Article 2, Section 2-101D6 of the Coral Gables zoning code. And a motion to approve a variance to allow the addition a side setback of 5 feet 3 inches approximately versus the required minimum side setback in single-family residential districts of 15 feet pursuant to Article 2, Section 2-101D4 of the Coral Gables zoning code. And a motion to approve a variance to allow the addition and porch area a rear setback of 5 feet versus the required minimum side setback in single-family residential districts of 10 feet pursuant to Article 2, Section 2-101D4 of the Coral Gables zoning code.
Do you okay with the rest of the?
Okay.
Can you clarify again your position and your motion? Please clarify condition number 1. Are you eliminating it?
I'm eliminating it. I think they can do the clear view the way they've mentioned.
And you agree with the rest of the terms? You agree with the rest of the conditions?
There is a typo on the last variance, so I just wanted to clarify. So it's a variance to allow the addition and porch rear setback at 5 feet versus the required minimum rear setback versus what it's written there as side. So I
Oh.
apologize for that. Yeah.
Okay, Ms. Spain, would you do me one favor, please? Would you just state which of the numbers you were proposing to eliminate so it's clear?
Number 1 and number 4
Okay.
are to be
Number one,
eliminated.
Number 4.
2 and 5 are staff.
And 2 and 5 are to work with staff. I'm saying that it's okay to eliminate the original door. I think it's a unique situation that they have a screen door in the photographs that they can replicate. I would not say that if there was never a screen door there, but it looks as though that screen door was there for quite a while. That's my view.
Everybody had screen doors. Okay, so we have a motion, okay, by Ms. Spain. Are there any amendments, any?
Just, would, Ms. Spain, would you consider a friendly amendment
Sure.
to study the connector, to have a flat portion?
Oh, I would, absolutely. I think that that's actually a very good idea. And to study and work with staff on possibly doing a flat portion.
Okay, so we have an amendment to the motion?
Do we want to be more specific as to make it a flat roof? I think it's.
I'm not planning on doing that, no.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Silva, would you like to clarify your amendment to make it a flat roof rather than to?
I'm happy to study, and that's what you
Okay,
said.
all right, good. All right, so I understand that
To
number
study
5
and
is
work
also
with
to be
staff.
studied as well.
Is the motion, is the condition to study or to mandate it?
To study.
To study it.
Study, we, in good faith, will study
In good
that.
faith, I think it's gonna
Proposal
make for a
with
better
staff.
project.
Yeah.
I think you should give it a real
Look at it.
look.
They've never looked at it before, so.
In other words, go for it. Okay, so we have that, we have amendment, okay. You want to call the question?
No.
Oh, and I'm
Do
sorry,
you
we
have
need a second.
Second yet?
Yeah,
I'll second.
I'll second.
okay.
Ms. Alvarez, you can say.
All right, so we have a motion by Ms. Spain, and we have a second by Mr. Silva. Okay,
Can we entertain board discussion for just a second?
yes, we may.
So I think it's an incredible project, but I think that one non-flat roof, that telescoping roof, is going to be enough to really impact the way that I see these houses communicating. I think Mr. Silva explained it really well as to what it could do with the roof forms and the spacing between Mr. Maxwell about heavily landscaping the front of it so that it, from the street, looks like it's two different homes, even though it is connected, and it's great that it is connected. I think that roof line is, in my opinion, a very important, it's the most important thing that connects the two homes, and the way that it is currently designed, particularly with tiles, albeit S-tile or true barrel tile, I think that the height of that connection is too, it blurs the line between the two separate houses too strongly, even though it is further back, even though it is lower, even though it does telescope. I think a flat roof, at least a parapet on the front, would really make a difference. And just wanted to say that as discussion.
And I agree with that, and particularly if you're going to have two different tiles, you're going to have the barrel tile on the historically designated portion of this, and then the S tile, I guess, will remain, because you can't require them to do more and do an additional roof. So the joining of those two would be helped by having that flat roof. But my motion is just to study it.
Are we good, board? Okay, so it's a very serious study. And so it's worth contemplation. Okay, let's call the roll.
Ms. Alvarez?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Shield?
I think the study has to be stronger, so no.
Okay, Mr. Garcia Pons?
For the reasons mentioned before, the answer is no.
Okay, no. Ms. Rolando?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Spain?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
And Mr. Maxwell?
Yes. Okay, motion passes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Hopefully, we didn't take too much time.
We'll look forward to see a flat roof hyphen and barrel tile.
We will take a look at it.
And keep the front door. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Excellent project. Nelson, as always, very good. Thank you.
I'm going to send you tonight the sketches I already have for flat roof. You can look at them.
Just the last 8 feet.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are here at 5 minutes after 7 o'clock. Ms. Pernis, thank you for moving this to the back, and this will be our modus operandi in the future. That way, I think we're able to see more people. Board, is there any old business of which you'd like to discuss?
With the connection,
I know Mrs. Dene wanted to continue to discuss things with Ms. Throckmorton, but she's not here today, and I know that they're in discussion with that. And those related to our last meeting where we were talking about procedures, basically for that. Would you like to, was there any discussion that anybody'd like to have on that? Precedent to, what Ms. Dene and Ms. Throckmorton come up with. Ms. Dene showed Ms. Throckmorton a number of other communities that had specific rules and regulations related to presentations, shortness, conciseness, and those things, I think of which we're all concerned with. At some time, most of the presenters stay within a nice short period of time, and we do try to ask them to do so. So I think as the future goes on, it would be really good to do it, particularly as we have more complex, projects. I mean, you'll see that this took us from 5 o'clock until 7 o'clock. Right? And so we had short presentations, but it was the discussion that was long. So it was very good. We asked the presenters, to make it short and to the point. And so I think that was very good. So hopefully we'll be looking at this again and having a little further discussion later on. And if they come up with something, we can make a recommendation to council, to make these things change. Is there any new business, Ms. Paranis, that we have?
I wanted to ask a question.
Of course.
May is National Historic Preservation Month.
Right.
And I don't know if it's appropriate or it has been done before for the Historic Preservation Board to make a presentation at the commission meeting, maybe just about the state of historic preservation in Coral Gables.
That would be excellent.
So in the past, the city commission has done a proclamation for Historic Preservation Month, and we'll try to make sure that happens again. Usually, I believe Corellia, or I think even the villagers have submitted for that.
We did already.
Okay.
I was thinking more of a presentation from the board to the
Right.
commission, maybe, and that's why I'm giving a heads up, because I know it won't happen, quickly if we want to do it, but any topic you want, but I was just kind of thinking when the board began, how many properties are designated, just an overview of Coral Gables historic preservation. The difference between districts and,
Maybe individually. Would you like, it's up to the board to decide on who would make that presentation on behalf of the board, if that's something that.
I think it would be good if we had several people do it, actually. I think it would be good with Ms. Shield. It would like to be there. And I'd also like to expand that as well and work with the staff on a brief, here's what we accomplished last year. And I know that that's there, but I'd like to read it into the public record. And I'd also like to discuss what it is that the threats that we're facing and the issues that we need to be discussing, as a city, and how we address historic preservation, in a nice general way.
and the benefits of historic preservation. There's a lot of benefits that we're aware of, but maybe it would be nice to explain the benefits of historic preservation. It's one of the number one reasons why people like Coral Gables.
Yeah. So if there's talking points that you all want to send to me so I can put them together and then present them to the board at the next meeting, because you all will have to agree on what's being presented on behalf of the board.
That would be fine.
Ms.
Thank you.
Bednas, can you
So
provide us
Ms.
with-
Shield, please send things in. Everybody.
Yeah, I can, if somebody wants to send me whatever, I can work on talking points.
No,
to-
please send them to me.
Can you,
Oh, yes,
The train.
the sunshine.
Thank you.
can you send the board we do an annual report for the commission?
Yes, we have an annual report already that's already submitted to
Can
the.
you forward that to the board so
Yes,
that we
of
can use it
course.
as a basis?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, on the presentation board, I'd really like several of us to be there, at least three.
can all
And
try to
and
be
if everybody can come, I think that would be even better.
Yeah.
So if you can get us a general schedule about.
Yeah,
when
we
you-
usually ask for a time certain if it's a board item, so we could ask for that too.
So it'd be like the beginning of May or the end of April?
I believe there's only one April meeting, so it would likely be the May meeting.
So May.
I'll look at the dates. There's 2 May meetings.
All right, well, thank you. Ms. Shield, that's very good. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Okay, new business?
Does the board have anything else for legal? 'Cause I'm late to another meeting.
No, I think we're good.
Hasta Gonzalo. See you later. Okay, so that was a commission item as well, so we've got that. We moved down the agenda. Any other new business, folks? Anybody want to talk about anything? Okay, I wanted to let everybody know that I have sent to the city commission a proposal to buy a George Fink building. And this is located at Salamanca and Galliano, and it consists of it's 2 parcels, but it's in one property. It's for sale for $2 million. One of them is a 4-unit 1925 George Fink. It's probably the best apartment building remaining in the north, and actually in one of the best in the city. Wow. And it's attached to a vacant lot, which could be a park. I provided a basic financing program. Could put the building on the National Register, use park funds to buy the vacant lot, okay? At $1 million, if you divide it that way, it's $1 million for each piece of property. You can't buy a piece of property in Coral Gables for under $1 million. So it's reasonably priced, okay? I've talked to the mayor and several of the city commissioners about a property that we could use as Coral Gables House, to put up guests and things like, people like that, entertain people, puts people over, and/or our staff. Our staff can't afford to live in our community. So to do these things. And so I would like all of you to kind of bring this up to our commissioners, if you would, and see what we can do to move on. I've also proposed another property just right across the street from the Marriott, and I encourage all of you to look at it. I want to say that's on Paisano, and it's in the middle of the block, and it's an 8-unit apartment that is stunning. From the outside, it's almost intact, and from the inside, walk in. It's a galleried courtyard that's lengthy, goes back. Both of these properties also have parking. So they're good. They're the two best that we have remaining in the city. And so I think it would really be good to begin to look at those and preserve them. Otherwise, we're going to lose them. We are losing these apartments very, very quickly. So,
Mr. Maxwell, now that that's put into the public record, can he forward it to you guys and you forward it to us so that we can see the proposal?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I can.
Is that all right?
yes, sir,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Could you please do that?
Yes. I believe I have one of the proposals that you had submitted. I'll double check. I'll work with you.
The commissioners received both proposals, but the one proposal is hot right now because the property's listed on the market.
Maybe you
Right.
can send
Yeah.
both of them to staff, and then they can send them.
Yeah.
Happy to
I'll
send it.
coordinate with you,
I
Mr.
will send
Maxwell.
it to you. Thank you. Any discussion items? Anybody need to leave immediately? Let's go. Do we have an motion for adjournment? Done. Thank you all
Thank you.
very much. A good meeting.
I look forward to seeing that.
You too. Yeah, go see it.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the two.